drunk at the hilly. I can't PD and I can't find my Willie. I'm just here for a little attention. Yeah, I got severe hypertension. So why you trying to get to know a Higgy better? Can't and whores, Bella's mom and Schmarietta. I don't know, I'll give it a go. ATF's big show, I ain't no hoe. I don't need a new man with a double D rack. Never mind, Higgy, your game is whack. You're the whacker to my weed. Your game is whack. I'm not trying to hear that, see? I'm not one of the girls trying to get locked down. Prince Higgy, baby, Jameson crown. I get down with the hilly low comp ticket. 16 whiskeys is how I kick it. And you get excited for a midnight snack. I already told you, your game is whack. You're the whacker to my weed. Your game is whack. I'm not trying to hear that, see? Your game is whack. You're the whacker to my weed. Your game is whack. I'm not trying to hear that. I like sleeping alone. This won't go all night. A little needy and strange. It's true love at first sight. I'm the real deal. I do what I gotta do. From the rip, my whole heart's for you. Your whole heart is not for me. Not a half, not a quarter, not a claw, not a read. You know what's the problem? You're trouble and you're hot. I'm big, thick neck daddy Higgy. He's not. I got a question, not to be rude. Are you queer? Cause you keep calling me dude. Are you glad that you had walked me out? No self-doubt and you didn't cop out. No last words, I'll just mutter abide. Don't diss the caterpillar and sweat the butterfly. All of them girls must have got you gas. And when they see a good thing, they don't triple bypass. Well, for this town, that's right on track. Cause for me, your game's too whack. You're the whacker to my weed. Your game is whack. I'm not trying to hear that, see? Game is whack. You're the whacker to my weed. Your game is whack. I'm not trying to hear that. What am I? Another pretty face getting you a drink from my military base? All I gotta know is why did you use me? You talking? Psh, excuse me. We can't have nothing. You wear depends. Well, if we ain't getting married, then we can't be friends. Well, then I guess it's nothing. Well, hey, I think you're puffing. Well, pass that weed. I won't weed whack nothing. You better catch a flashback. Remember, you ain't tapping it. You ain't my style, and I'm not having it. All I remember from that late night kiss is I'm more the mister, you're more the miss. Well, look, I treat you good. Treat yourself better. And I always call my mom. Write her a love letter. I greet you every day with a martini at the door. You won't last a year, you're overgrown bed sore. Well, I'm known in this town, and there, that's a piss. I got no one to blame but myself and Melissa. You didn't answer me, Karen. Am I a good kisser? Don't remember, had a lot of Hennessy. A lot of girls out there that won't say no. The ones you take to your crib with 𝗺cie. Boom, now all my feelings is getting fatter. All I wanna do is drink booze and eat food. Tell you nice shit like chillax, dude. So when there's nothing in the fridge but a natty, just call Big Face.
Welcome to the weekend live show.
508 is where I'm from.
We run down the biggest stories of the week with you every Saturday night. Let us know in the comments right now where you reppin'.
Apache Junction, Taunton, Worcester, Long Island, Mantrod, South Florida, Webster, Malden, Framingham, Tucson, Wichita, 𝗺𝗃𝗃, Salem, Gloucester, Moosop, Connecticut, Charleston, South Carolina, Roslindale, Moosop, Connecticut, London, Hanson, Glendale, Arizona, Lynn, Mapleville, Quincy.
Food stands, leave it closed, buddy, and
hey, you a funny ass guy, man.
Have you ever heard of Turtleboy? Yeah? Are you a fan?
508 is where I'm from.
Hey, what's up?
508 is where I'm from.
How was that?
You a freaking idiot. Stop telling people that I'm mentally deranged and stupid.
Call me Aidan. He's not a doctor, but...
Get out of my store, please.
You're a fucking loser.
You are a loser.
You're not a journalist. You're nobody.
I'm not turtle hair. Don't make such fun of the criminal justice system.
NFL on the house, blog that.
Let's get this party started.
And I will not be intimidated. I will not be silenced. And we will continue on our journey for justice for John O'Keefe and for Karen Reed.
Tick, tick, boom. Noise. Go, baby, we bringing out toys. Boys, chop up the singing, should be on the voice. Bang, bang, we gon' ride out. Gang, gang, we don't die out. Want it like this, ain't no timeouts. Tell me who really gon' find out.
We be disturbing the peace. Working, we serving the streets.
Karen Reed has supporters who've shown up in large numbers.
Tick, tick, boom.
Hard body, and not scaring nobody. You make me resort to wildin'. You must be blind by the diamonds. I didn't want it to be this way, but y'all won't need to try this, so it's no way around it. You the loudest one, it's going quiet. We be disturbing the peace, working, we serving the streets. About to go 𝗃𝗿𝗄𝗇𝗺. Bang, bang, leave you sleep.
This is the first time I think I've ever seen this. An outpouring of support for someone accused of murdering a Boston police officer. Unbelievable situation. Never seen anything like it.
Tick, tick, boom. You can't stop me, so who gon' stop me? You can't stop me, so who gon' stop me? You can't stop me, so who gon' stop me? You can't stop me, so who gon' stop me?
We be disturbing the peace, working, we serving the streets. About to go 𝗃𝗿𝗄𝗇𝗺. Bang, bang, leave you sleep. It's go, 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 go time.
Tick, tick, boom.
Boom. What's up, Turtle Riders? How's everyone doing out there tonight? Good, good, excellent. Welcome to the last Turtleboy Saturday Night Live show before Karen Reed is freed. This is the last one, believe it or not. This time next week, mark my words, Karen Reed will be freed, and the next Saturday night show is going to be the best. It's going to be a celebration show. It's going to happen. She's going to be acquitted on Friday. Just let's fucking do it. It's going to happen Friday. Friday's the day. I'm telling you. Friday morning. That's what I think is going to happen. I think that within, I think there's only going to be 2 more witnesses left, as much as I'd like there to be more. I think it's going to be Dr. 𝗃𝗄𝗄𝗆 and Dr. 𝗃𝗄𝗆. Is that how you pronounce her name? And I think Dr. 𝗃𝗄𝗆 is going to go first. And I think he's going to be fucking awesome. We're going to get into that tonight. He's better than everybody loves Dr. Wolfe because he's like Crash Daddy. He's got dimples and he's handsome and all that and stuff like that. But like Dr. 𝗃𝗄𝗄𝗆 is the body guy. You know, he's the guy. He's the one everybody forgets about, you know, and he's the guy who's going, yeah, no Garrett Wing. I know. I'm not, believe me, I want Garrett Wing. It's not the same without Garrett Wing. It's not, there's so many people I want to see. So many people, but people are asking who's Dr. 𝗃𝗄𝗆𝗆. She is the medical examiner from Rhode Island. She was the medical examiner for the state of Rhode Island, who is going to testify. She watched John's autopsy video and she noticed the pancreas. She's done thousands of autopsies for the government, and she is certain, based on John's pancreas, that he did not die from hypothermia. Didn't die from hypothermia. So, yeah. Although Hank gets a rebuttal, which is so annoying. So maybe not Friday. I don't know. It could be Friday. You know, no, Garrett Wing was allowed in. Garrett Wing's allowed in. Rick Green's allowed in. But I don't know. It's just based on her own words, Karen's own words. She hasn't told me this. I don't have any inside information that you guys don't have. But, you know, that's what everyone's saying. I have no way to prove this. If they don't call Rick Green, it's not that they think they have it in the bag. I think it's that they want to simplify this for the jury. There was no collision. John was not hit by a car. Karen Reed's car did not hit John O'Keefe. Done. Nothing happened. You start getting up there with Rick Green, I guess they're worried that they will start going down the conspiracy rabbit hole. And we all know that's entertaining as fuck and whatever, but they have a completely different strategy this trial. And it's obviously a well thought out plan. She doesn't just have just one lawyer. She has a team of lawyers who have all recommended, probably, I mean, sure, they've reached a consensus, right? And again, this is not coming from Karen Reed herself. I have no inside information that you don't have. All she said is that they're going to be done. They could be done Tuesday. That's what she said outside of court. So yeah, you know, Garrett Wing would have been fucking awesome just to lay home the dog bites. One more guy to just, he's so convincing. I don't see the harm in calling Garrett Wing. He's just so good. He's so fucking good. But I guess at this point, I don't know. It's like, would he change anyone's mind, or do people have their minds made up? I think the jury has their minds made up, man. I look at this jury every day I was in there every day for last week. I think they're ready. I think they're ready. I think they're ready to acquit her. There's still 18 of them. Not a single one is dropped. Not one of them is dropped. And they all pay. I'm so impressed by how much they pay attention and how many notes. They take a lot more notes than the last jury. I think it's just time, and I think that they think it's time. The witnesses that they have called thus far, the defense, have all contributed something of value, right? Like, who do we got going down? And it's an interesting strategy by not calling the McAlberts, and I'll explain why I think it's working out. And that's not just because I'm, being a cheerleader for the home team. It's that I think it might be the right decision. I mean, it's a gamble, but the first witness, 𝗺𝗫, he's there to create reasonable doubt with Shannon's bullshit. Okay. And I think he did a fine job of that. I mean, he wins that battle. Then they had Kelly Deaver. She was there to, she's there to talk about, that was the gamble. The Kelly Deaver one was the gamble, because they got, it's like, does the jury believe what she said before or what she's saying now? And I think that paid off. I think that the jury believes what she's saying before. I do, because that it's like, you don't go into a federal grand jury or another criminal proceeding and make up an elaborate story about the chief of police and Brian Higgins being alone for a wildly long period of time with the murder weapon. You don't just make shit up. That just doesn't come out. And then you get called up to your office by the boss, and then you're like, oh wait, that couldn't have happened. I had a false memory. I mean, who believes that? So immediately you're like, it just doesn't smell right to the jury. Like, that's crazy. So like, they heard that Brian Higgins was alone with the car. They heard that, what else did they hear? Oh, they heard a lot of Michael Proctor's disgusting text messages. Not all of them, but just the disgusting one that shows how biased he is, how unprofessional he is, etc. Then we heard from, who else did we hear from those great witnesses? Oh, obviously, Lucky Loughran stole the show. I mean, he was the best witness. He was so good. He was the best on cross-examination. He was so believable. He was so likable. He was fantastic. He was just so great. And there was no body on the lawn at 2:30. I don't think these retards on the other side understand what a big deal that is. If there's no body there at 2:30, that means Karen Reed didn't kill him at 12:30. That's it. That's the whole story. And then the Ford Edge appears there. They don't even know that they didn't look into the Ford Edge or anything like that. They just know that a Ford Edge was there. So you tell me. I mean, they didn't call Tully, and they didn't give Tully a chance to explain away why he didn't look into the Ford Edge. So I think that was a good thing. I mean, why give him a chance to make some shit up? If Hank isn't going to call him, why are you going to call him? Why give? Proctor would have been good. I still think they should have called Proctor, but we'll see. I think that his absence speaks volumes, and I think that they're going to make a big stink of that during the closing. And then there's Nick Barros. Nick Barros was unbelievable. Absolutely not, he said. And that shook the jury. That made them, wow. Absolutely not. It did not look like that, which means somebody planted it. And 𝗵𝗺𝗃 and Higgins, the guy who found taillight on February 4th, is alone in the garage with it for a wildly long period of time. And Higgy, the guy who looks like Matthew Farwell, walking around with a hoodie on and moving a duffel bag around, That's the only image that the jury has of Brian Higgins. They haven't met decorated dude. They haven't met suited up Brian Higgins. They don't know that guy. All they know is he's the guy from the waterfall video, which they watched again with 𝗁𝗄𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃. 𝗁𝗄𝗃𝗃𝗃 testified that she saw John and Karen affectionate 30 minutes before John was dead. Okay. There is zero evidence that John and Karen fought on the way to 34 Fairview. There's zero evidence of that. Who can testify that they fought on the way there? There isn't a single person that can say that. So the last time anyone can comment or testify about their behavior is at the waterfall bar, and 𝗁𝗄𝗃𝗃𝗃 was not called by the government. She was called by the defense, and she said that they were affectionate. And then Higgins texts her at 11:30. Could we talk about how bold that is? Sorry, I got a little cold. Right. Can we talk about how bold that is? They didn't want anybody know when is the last day that Higgins and Karen texted before January 28th or 29th. Does anybody know when the last time they spoke was via text? Was it a week? Was it 2 weeks? I'm sure one. I mean, you guys know everything. The chat knows everything. What do you guys think? Was it a week? Was it 2 weeks? I forget. The 23rd, people are saying the 22nd. So that's like, 10 days prior. Some are saying, I've seen a lot of January 23rd, which would be 6 days. Either way, it's roughly a week, I believe. Almost a week, right? So they just don't talk. I see Emily C says 123. I trust her. She's really good on TikTok, so I trust her. So on 123 is the last time they talk. So they just don't talk for 6 days, right? And then so it's over. For all intents and purposes, it's over. There was no text earlier in the day asking her, what are you doing tonight? He gave up, right? He got blue balls. He blew it. You know, she was throwing out all the DTF signals she could, and he just was too chicken shit afraid to go for it. You know, he just didn't punch it in when he had the chance. And so he's like, fuck, you know? And so then he's out at the bar. And what does 𝗁𝗄𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 testify is happening at the bar? Well, John and Karen are being affectionate towards one another, which she described as very sweet. I think she said she'd never seen that before. And a lot of the trolls are like, what? You never seen that before? I don't know. I don't really see that with my people who are in some people. Very few people in relationships do that. You know, very few people. It's, you know, a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't just because they've been together for a long time or whatever, especially people that have been together as long as them, you know? So she sees them and they're all affectionate. And then what happens? Well, Higgins texts her, right? And he says, well, and I think it's underrated that they hadn't spoken now in 6 days. And so he just out of the blue, why does he text her right then? You know, why didn't he text her earlier in the day? Why didn't he text her the night before? No, he texts her when he sees them, when he sees her at the bar with her boyfriend. How brazen. How brazen is that? Think about how brazen that is. He's just like, you're right. She's right there. She's a few feet away from you with her boyfriend. Like, what if she picked up her phone just to see what time it was and John was next to her and she sees the like Higgins texts and like, bro, Higgins is right there. He's right fucking there. How bold is that? You know, that's an aggressive move. Texting someone like that who you've been flirting with and then stop flirting with. And then he's there. She's there with her boyfriend who you also know and who a week prior you were at the hilly with, as they say. You know, and then all of a sudden there's no audio. There's just video, unless you're at D&E Pizza, then there's audio too. But the waterfall, they just have video surveillance because they don't violate the wiretapping statute. And you see that Brian Higgins is being held back at the end of the night, like 11:57, by Chris Albert. You know, he's being held back by Chris Albert, and Chris Albert is like grabbing his arm, and Brian Albert's right there observing the whole thing, and like that's his homie, and he's just yelling at him. I'm like, what's going on there? And then John is being a dick to Higgins. Like, underrated in that video is how John reacted to that. Like, John did the whole, he was cocky in that video, was he not? He did this thing. He laughed at him. Oh yeah, big tough guy. Big tough guy. You want some of this? Big tough guy? Who knows? It could have been over. I bet it wasn't even over Karen. Like, who knows what the fuck it was over, you know? So, you know, he gets a little, and I guarantee on the way back, Higgins said something to Brian Albert, like, this motherfucker talking some shit. And, you know, who knows what he said? Who knows what he said? So, I don't know. So that's a good witness because it makes him seem crazy. And so we haven't met Decorated Dude. Then we see him at 1:30 acting all shady and blah, blah. I don't know. I just think they got him right now. I do think Garrett Wing, there's no downside to calling Garrett Wing because he's going to say what Dr. Russell said, but better, and explain it better. And quite frankly, he's more believable because of his experience with dogs. And he's younger. Like, I don't want to be ageist or whatever, but like, in case there's any people on the jury that are just like, well, you know, that lady's just, some people just don't take old people seriously. It's unfortunate, you know, whereas Garrett Wing is like Mr. ADHD, Mr. You know, comes at you a mile a minute, speaking so fast, and he's an amazing communicator. And yeah, he was so good. He was so good on Melanie Lowe's channel, you know? So I think he would have been a big addition. Or maybe they call Garrett. Yeah, that's a good point. I see someone in the chat saying this. Way to go. I don't know if they can do this, Hot Wheels. Is that Lorena? I love how she calls herself that. But because they're going to get a chance to rebut all this shit, which is going to delay this. Now that I think of it, probably won't have a verdict Friday. They're going to get a chance to rebut all this with, like, Judd Welcher gets to come again. And then Terry Kuhn gets to go and introduce the fact that the swab that Michael Proctor wiped his ass with didn't have dog DNA on it. So she's going to testify to that. And then there's going to be Dr. Crosby is going to go, and he's going to be bad. He's going to be real bad, I think. I think he's going to be real bad. So maybe you're right, Hot Wheels. Maybe she gets to call Garrett Wing in response to that. It's Hank shouldn't get to go last. Like, what kind of bullshit is that where Hank gets to go last? I didn't even know you could do that. And I don't think Adam Lally knew you could do that either. Like, that you can just go again. Like, what? I thought the defense rested its case. What's the purpose of resting your case if you get to go again? Clearly you're not resting for very long. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I like their witnesses so far. I love Lucky. I love Barros. I love Karina. I think Deaver was a gamble that worked out. I think you got some of the Proctor text messages in, but not all of them. It's just a safer. It's a much more conservative defense this time around. And part of that is not calling Rick Green. Apparently, you know, first of all, he wasn't the best. Again, the age thing, you know, he's got the Chris Farley vibe to him. And he's wicked smart. He's great. He's really good at his work, but why give, he was just too nice. He was too nice. And they're clearly not going the route of trying to convict Jennifer McCabe and them of murder. That's not their job, quite frankly. And honestly, fuck the feds. Like, the feds, obviously, they didn't indict anyone because they're just lazy. Like, that's all it comes down to. They like nice, easy, quick cases. They like Tanya Fernandez. giving out $7,000 bribes in the bathroom. They like Matthew Farwell, open and shut case, just surveillance video of him walking in and walking out. And then homicide determination by the new medical examiner, right? That's what they like. They like nice, easy shit. They don't like a million clues and putting shit together. And it seems like they were pretty dependent on they got Matthew Farwell on cell phones. Like they found all those messages Garino couldn't find. And those were incriminating as fuck, those messages. All of them. And that's how they got them. And the McAlberts were smart enough not to, because they don't have any text messages from the McAlberts in which they're like, we killed John O'Keefe. They were just, the feds are like, well, I give up. That's it. I give up. I don't know. Like, are you kidding me? Seems ridiculous. But either way, is what it is. John's never going to get justice because the people, come on, guys, stop it. The McAlberts aren't getting arrested for this. Stop it. It sucks. It's unfortunate that that the feds did not come through, but it's all about getting that acquittal now, and that's good enough. And it sucks that John O'Keefe doesn't get justice, but free Karen Reed is a form of justice for John O'Keefe that I will settle for. And that's good enough for me, quite frankly. And, Paul O'Keefe and them can cry about it. Speaking of, let me pull something up here. So as you guys may know, I have a trial on Monday. Speaking of trials. And when this was scheduled initially, I didn't know that I'm probably going to miss Crash Daddy for this shit. Unbelievable. Let me pull this up. Where'd it go? No, that ain't it. Hold on. All right. So I have a trial on Monday. I am being charged with violating a restraining order with the fake victim on February 26, 2024. I showed up to a Karen Reed hearing, my third day out of jail. It had just been released after 60 days because the fake victim lied on Christmas Eve and said that I hit her because I wouldn't sleep over her house and pretend to comfort her during the third fake abortion of my fake baby Clay. And then when I wanted to go home, she woke her kids up and threatened to put them in the car at 3:30 in the morning and crash it on her way to my house so that she could sit in my real driveway and have a fake abortion of my fake baby. Okay. A fake baby Clay. And I just ended up leaving, and then she got mad and said that I hit her, and I didn't hit her. I just wanted to go home, and I left. And then I woke up the next day on Christmas Eve, and there was a warrant out for my arrest for assault and battery. What? Assault? Oh my God. And it turns out she'd been talking to Tully and them the whole time. Oh yeah, I'll tell you, if you didn't know this story, I'll tell you the whole story. It's fucking, I've said bits and pieces of it somewhere. I need to write a story on eventually and just have it all out there so I don't have to keep repeating it. But yeah, she didn't even report that I hit her. Tully did. Tully's the one that called the cops, and he claims that I hit her. And that didn't come across till like hours in the early afternoon of Christmas Eve. This is how they spent their Christmas, is framing me. And so a warrant was put out for my arrest. I turned myself in on the day after Christmas, which happens to be my birthday. And I was arraigned, and I had my bail revoked for 60 days. Got out February 23rd, February 26th. Karen Reed had a hearing. I attended, and lo and behold, who showed up for the first time with the McAlberts? That would be the fake victim. All right. So I got up and I left. I was already in the courtroom. I'd been there for an hour and a half prior. and because I go to every hearing, and I'm sitting in the third row of the courtroom with my homie Brad and Meredith, and we're sitting there, and I don't know if she's coming. I highly doubt she would. Couldn't even look at the door, but I had heard some grumblings from people that she might be there. I didn't know. I didn't know anything. I was just sitting there, and I wasn't even looking at the door because I didn't even want to see her if she came in. And I'm like so nervous and so anxious because like this woman lied and put me in jail. My charges were dropped that day, by the way. They just dropped the charges. The assault and battery never happened. So they just dropped it. So I was, waiting for her to come in. Or no, I was just sitting there and I didn't know she was coming in. And then all of a sudden, Meredith, I'm looking at Meredith is to my left, and so is Brad. And she just goes, we got to go. We got to go. And we just stood up and left. I didn't even look at her. I was just told that she was there, that she had just walked into the courtroom, and I bounced. I got the fuck out of there because that's what I knew what was happening. Like, this is what I was worried that she showed up with the McAlberts, right? Like the whole thing was a setup, right? And so let me see if I have this video. This is the tape. So check this out. All right, so where am I here? Let's see. I am right here. You can see my head right there. There I am. I have like a gray jacket on.
We are on the record on Commonwealth vs. Karen Reed on docket 22-CR117. Beginning with the prosecution, can we have the parties introduce themselves?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Laura McLaughlin for the Commonwealth.
Good afternoon, Ms. McLaughlin.
All right. So notice the court officers here because this is go time. Notice they're like motioning. Someone is coming in the courtroom. See? And then they zoom in and there's Brad. Brad is looking over that direction.
Alan Jackson on behalf.
All right. See how Brad's face is turning in that direction? And she has just walked in the courtroom at this point. I'm not even looking. Right? And see now Mr. Reed is looking over there too. They're coming in. She walked in with Jennifer McCabe. Okay. Holding the restraining order in her hand. And so you'll see it right here.
Good afternoon.
Meredith looks at me and she goes, we got to go.
Mr. Jackson.
Okay. And there's my head. And I realize, okay, we're out of here. And then I stand up.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Notice no court officer has told me you have to leave. She's testified previously and said in the police report, it says that I had to leave. And I guess a court officer is going to testify that they told me to leave. I was not told to leave. You see it on video right there. I just got up. Nobody told me to leave. I just got up. Even though I'm there first, I should have a right to be there, but I am not going back to jail today, Satan. Not over this whore. I'm going to get up and leave. So I get up.
Elizabeth.
I'm like, bye guys. See you later. I got to leave.
Good afternoon.
She gets up with me.
So, on behalf
All right.
of Ms. Reed.
And
Good afternoon.
we walk out.
Little.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. David Unetti for Karen Reed.
Good afternoon, Mr. Unetti. Good afternoon, Ms. Reed.
On my way out, 𝗃𝗄𝗏 is waiting at the door. And he goes, what did he say? 𝗃𝗄𝗏 says, oh, that's a bitch, huh? That's a bitch. Like the whole thing was obviously a setup. Okay. Now we have so much evidence going into. So I leave the courthouse. And I start live streaming myself on my way out because I want this documented and I want to find a police officer as quickly as possible. All right. I want to find a police officer as quickly as possible. So I walk out of the courthouse and I want it on video because I just had an encounter with a person who has a restraining order on me who I'm traumatized by because she lied and put me in jail last time I saw her. Okay. And so now I'm like, what if I leave and go home right this second, what if she tells them that I said something to her in the hallway? Like if she gets to the cops first, like she did on Christmas Eve, she can make some shit up. I'm not taking that chance. I'm going to speak to a dead-end police officer and file. I am not leaving here until I file a police report. And I'm going to get this all on film so that I can document this, because I'm not going back to jail. Fuck this shit. I'm not going back to jail for another lie. So I start filming myself. And on the way out, I run into let me see if I can find this video here. A police officer, his name is Crump. They call him the Silver Fox now, Turtle Riders do. And let's see if I have this. Oh yeah, here it is. Can I download this? All right, here it is. All right, here we go. So I go and I immediately cross the street and I go, I got to get 100 yards away.
Hi, officer. I just want this on record. So there's a woman inside the court that has a restraining order me for 100 yards. Okay. If I go over there, is that sufficient?
I don't know where she is or who she is.
She's inside the court. That's sufficient. Thank you very much. She's inside the court. That's sufficient. Thank you very much. Inside the door. Inside the door. Inside the door.
Go over there for now. So I wish I didn't talk over him when he said that, but he says go over there for now, because we're in the middle of the street. So he's like directing traffic. I know. The gum chewing is bad. I'm never going to chew gum again, I promise. Okay. So I'm like, okay. So I go across the street and I stand on top of the registry of deeds. I'm in the middle of a live stream. It goes on for 5 more minutes. And then court gets out. The whole hearing, like if you look at this video, look how short this hearing is. Like, okay, so this is 5:15. It starts.
Okay. Oh, all right. So here comes Mr. Lally. Were you expecting him, Ms. McLaughlin?
Yes, Your
All right. I'm sorry. I would not have started. And she made it clear that.
And then when does it end?
You're on our dates.
All right, so it ends at 17 minutes. So the whole thing lasts a grand total of 12 minutes and it's over. And then they all spill out outside. So I'm waiting outside, not even waiting outside. Like, keep in mind, I didn't drive there. I didn't drive. Like, my shit was in Meredith's car and I actually got separated from her in the crowd because there's so many people outside. I just got out of jail. The fake victim showed up. I'm having fucking anxiety. Like, what the fuck? And so I can't even leave if I want to. And also, I'm scared to leave because I have good reason to be scared, because what if she follows me to like where I'm going? Like, she has a history of this. Okay. Like, people forget this. Do I have this video? Yeah, this. They don't want to enter this into evidence. Let me know if you guys can hear this. So this is her ex-boyfriend, Frankie, in July of 2023. And she also accused him of hitting her. She's accused 5 different men of every man she's ever dated. She ends with them hitting her, according to her. And she gets an order on him, and he was arrested in May for hitting her, allegedly. And then she has an order on him, but they still talk all the time because he's an idiot. And So she ends up putting a tracker on his car and finds him in a parking lot in Walpole, and gets into his with the kids. She's got 4 kids in the minivan, gets into his car, and then refuses to get out of the car. And so he starts filming for his own safety. And this is what happens.
All right, I gotta go. Come on, get out of my car, please. Lindsay, can you get out of my car? Lindsay, get out of my car. The kids are sitting in there. It's probably sweating. So get out of my car, please.
Just sitting there, ripping a butt.
Come on, I gotta go get an oil change.
You ready?
I'll say bye to the kids. What's that? And you didn't do that for my car. No, you didn't. Why did you say you did that for my car and you didn't?
What for your car?
You said you called it in. You did that.
Yes, I did. Yes, I fucking did. And you're welcome, by the way. I fucking go and help you out.
said thank you.
And then you fuck me over behind my
How did
back.
I fuck you over?
You're a
They're taking 65%.
No, they're not. They're allowed to take 65%.
They're right.
Before taxes, it has not been anywhere near 65%. You're going to be proven wrong when they do the math in court. Because every fucking pay set, they're going to go back and look. And it hasn't been anywhere near.
Lindsay,
You're
here
so
comes the
dumb.
police.
You're so dumb.
Here comes the police, Lindsay. Lindsay, here comes the police. Lindsay, here comes the police. Here comes the police, you asshole. Get out of my car. Come on. Lindsay, get out of my car. Nice going, Lindsay.
You better stop, Frankie, because I'll tell
Get out of my car.
You better stop. You better stop.
Thank you. Thank you. Nothing.
So Frankie gets arrested right after this. So Frankie gets arrested for violating a restraining order against her after she tracked him down, got in his car, and refused to leave. So I'm aware of this video on February 26th, and I know how crazy she is. And so she has just followed me into court, and I'm like, I'm leaving, and I'm like, is she in the parking lot waiting for me? There is no, I am not safe around this woman at all. She's not the victim here. I am. And so I'm like, I want to be near police. I want to be on film. I want to record all of this. And I am not leaving here until that officer told me, go stand over there for now. In other words, we will continue this conversation when I get a free minute, and then I will take a report. Okay. That is what I was waiting for. Not her. I was waiting for him because I'm going to document this, and I'm not going back to that parking lot alone. So in case she's there and tries some shit, I'm not doing it. So I go, and court gets out, and hundreds of people start streaming out. And she claims that I yelled at her that when she was walking out with the McAlberts. First of all, she doesn't say anything first. She walks out at 2:18. They go back to their car with the McAlberts. There's like 20 of them. I don't see her. She doesn't see me. She gets to her car, and she has someone in her group call the police. And they claim that her car was vandalized and that I probably did it. The insinuation is made that I vandalized her car. So that was the original setup, was they were going to say I vandalized her car. I didn't. It was made up. I didn't go back there at all. So she calls the police and tells Officer Matthew Kozak this. And in his report, she doesn't mention anything about me violating the order against her. Nothing. No mention of it whatsoever. And then she leaves. 2:47, she's gone. Then at 3:07, she calls the Dedham police back. And we have the voicemail of this, the Dedham police voicemail. And she tells the Dedham police that I was just leaving the courthouse, and Aidan Kearney, Turtleboy, I have a restraining order on him, and he was waiting outside for me, and he yelled, "Liar, liar," at me. That's what she said. And that never happened. And she didn't report it to Kozak. And so why is she reporting it at 3:07? Simple. She talked to Krusty. That's the only logical conclusion. Krusty saw my live stream. Krusty's the one who called the police on me at 2:15. And she's like, he was on the registry of deed steps. You obviously didn't see him. He didn't see you. But then she's like, but that's within 100 yards. So now I can send him back to jail. And so she calls the police and she tells them this. And they're like, you got to come back in. So she goes back in at 7 and files a report. And the Dedham police charge me with violating a restraining order. I'm charged the next day. And we filed a motion to dismiss, and they filed a motion to revoke my bail and put me in jail for 120 days. And luckily it was denied, but the motion to dismiss was also denied. So now we go to trial. So I have trial for this on Monday. And so we have not yet decided if we're going to go with a bench trial or a jury trial. I reserve the right to go with a jury. But for those people looking to come, you're more than welcome to. However, I would request that you dress appropriately and don't wear Turtleboy stuff. That's my own, because Cosgrove has filed a motion to not allow Turtleboy stuff in the courtroom. And I'm okay with that because I just don't want to give any appearance that I'm like the favorite. You know what I mean? I want a fair trial. I don't want anybody to be able to accuse outside influence or anything like that. I want a fair trial and no pajama pants, please. I mean, seriously, it's court. You gotta get a little dressed up for court, a little dressed up. So I have court for that. We expect it to take a day, maybe 2. We don't know who the judge is going to be. We don't know if we're going to go with the jury or not. I will be prepping with my attorney tomorrow for this. I will be taking the stand, as will she. Our witness list includes 3 Dedham police officers, Crump, Kozak, and this other guy, Caddy, who observed several videos from that day and said that I did not yell liar, liar at her. And that in the videos, she clearly can't see me and doesn't notice me. However, Dedham District Court doesn't have Zoom for some reason. So I don't know. And I can't imagine there's going to be cameras in there because the cameras are going to be across the street, right? I would assume. I don't know. Maybe there will be. I don't know. But either way, I am looking forward to this. We have like 10 or 11 witnesses on our list. We have 3 cops. We have 6 or 7 eyewitnesses who were there around me and are going to testify that I didn't yell anything. Like, this is all made up, that I made significant efforts to get away, etc. And we don't know. There's 2 judges on that day, Pomeroy and one other guy I've never heard of before. So we'll see. And yeah, either way. The reason I was bringing this all up is that that mofo, Paul O'Keefe, he's one of our witnesses. So why is Paul O'Keefe a witness in this? Well, Paul O'Keefe is a witness because he walked in with her, right? She claimed to be a personal guest of Paul O'Keefe. Like, when she walks into the courthouse, Paul is there with her. All right. I'll show you the video of them entering. What the fuck? Is this it? Yeah, you'll see. Hold on. Let me see a better version of this. Here's a version. Ready? So there's Paul, and then look who's right behind him. That's the fake victim. Okay. So they're walking in together. She later testifies that she was invited there by them. She doesn't know these people. She's a complete stranger to them. So this, obviously, Paul O'Keefe and the McAlberts invited her there to try to have me arrested again. Paul even said, remember the message that Paul sent me on, what was it, July 29th, which we're also entering into evidence. Let's see, where'd it go? This one. He messages me on July 27th and says, I'm taking you down. I hope you know that you're done. You are going to jail, actually prison this time. I hope your kids are prepared. I so look forward to that. So he's like basically saying that I am going to conspire to put you in jail. And he has previously brought this woman with him to court, who he doesn't know, for the purposes of trying to put me in jail. So now, I mean, Paul is more than just a witness. Paul is a co-conspirator in this setup. It's very obvious. And so we have every right to question him about this, especially since she's previously testified that he's the one who invited her there. So that's a threat, obviously. So Paul's attorney filed a motion that is going to be argued Monday morning to quash the subpoena. He doesn't want to show up. He doesn't want to come. And he says that he shouldn't have to turn over any of his communications with fake victim or 𝗺cie or Jennifer McCabe, which we've asked for. And his reason why is this. Third, right here. All right, this part. The defendant's demand is a blatant attempt to interfere with, can I highlight this? Oh, nice. This part. Can I make it not pink? That's really distracting. Whatever. You guys can still read it. Actually, I want to make it yellow. Can we make that yellow? There we go. Okay. Third, the defendant's demand is a blatant attempt to interfere with Mr. O'Keefe's attendance of Commonwealth versus Karen Reed, the adjudication of the murder of his late brother, Boston police officer John O'Keefe. So he's like, basically, I'm interfering with it in his attendance. During the 3+ years, which this has been going on, Mr. O'Keefe has attended every proceeding in support of his grieving family. The murder case is now on the precipice of conclusion, with the defense nearing the end of its case in chief and closing arguments expected to take place next week. Well, tough shit. That's my word. That's my answer to that one. It's tough shit because he's a witness. Sorry, and he's a really important witness that's going to prove, because I have constitutional rights too, and I have a right to a fair trial, and I cannot have a fair trial unless witnesses are allowed to testify who I call, especially somebody who witnessed everything. And guess what? Paul is the one. Paul's crying now about not being able to attend. First, yeah, and that's a good point. I didn't attend. I didn't pick the date, Leah. Exactly. I didn't pick the date. This is dated months ago. So I didn't know that this was going to be finishing this week. So that's not my problem. But Paul chose this. Paul chose to turn his brother's murder pretrial hearing into an episode of Jerry Springer, right? He chose that. The death of his brother is supposed to be a serious and somber event, one in which he is supposed to have respect and reverence for. And what does he do? He turns it into an opportunity. We know about what he also does, using it as a way to signal to his internet girlfriends and send the secret code of the day. But Paul also chose to bring my Friday night side piece, former one in, who has a restraining order on me. That's his only interest in her. They're not friends. So that's why he chose this. And now he fucked around and he's crying about the find out. He doesn't like the find out part. So he wants a do-over. And what is he doing? He's crying that my brother got killed. You feel bad for me. My brother died. People feel bad for Paul for that, sure. But that card expired a long time ago based on Paul's own behavior. He did this. No sympathy. He did this. He orchestrated the entire thing. He chose this. So he's going to have to come on Monday. He's going to have to miss his brother's murder trial and sit in a room at Dedham District Court and wait for his ass to be called when his turn is up. We'll let him know when it's his turn. So there's that. Anyway. So I hope to see you guys there Monday. We'll see what happens. But what's happening in the Superior Court is much more important. So we're all going to be paying attention to that. I'm going to have to catch up on that later. But either way, yeah, there's that. So why don't we hold on one sec. I got to turn on the AC. It's just too fucking hot. Yeah, hold on. All right. So anyway, back to this. Why don't I read some turtle chats? If you guys want your messages read out loud to the class, you can click at the link at the top for turtle chat. Pay whatever you want, and I will read whatever you send, as long as it's, short, sweet, and to the point. And, if you have a dumb turtle chat, I might roast you. I might, because I have to correct this information. I can't just read incorrect things out loud and not correct it just because you paid. So, okay, let's read these. Man, these are a bunch. Okay, here we go. Rescue Randy in Sallyport Forever sends $10, goes, is there any info you can provide on the court reporter? At first, I thought she was funny, but then I saw her roll her eyes at Dr. Russell, and that just seemed like an act of war. Madam Court Reporter from Trial 1 seemed more professional. Thanks for all you do. No, I have no information on her, so thank you. A Turtle Rider sends $5, goes, Doc, and I don't give a shit about the court reporter, like, at all. And I'm not going to waste a second of my time talking about her. So there's that. Thank you. A Turtle Rider sends $5 and goes, Dr. Daddy, can you tell everyone to stop replying earnestly to @jbronius on Twitter? He is AFKR. He sucks ass. Okay. The Albert Family Rock sends $10, goes, Hank comes off as a bully, a weasel, and a liar with every witness he crosses. When he tries to be nice, it comes off as insincere. I hope the jury sees it too. Exactly. He just sucks. He's a bad person, period. And when this is done, like what he did to Dr. Wolfe with his wife is the lowest thing I've ever seen. And he really stooped low on that one. And, when this all ends, I mean, this is ending soon. So I hope Hank knows that, because he has officially made it clear with what he did on Friday in court when he pulled that stunt, that wives are on the table, that spouses are fair game. I don't make the rules. I play on the battlefield of that he chooses for us. Okay. Spanky brought up a man's wife who has nothing to do with anything in front of him on national TV. And you don't do that. You don't fuck with someone's wife like that. You don't fucking do that ever. So Spanky's got a wife too. And Spanky has set the rules here that wives are fair game. I don't make the rules. And I'm not going to do anything. Again, this isn't about me. This whole thing has outgrown me. I'm not the one, like millions of people are watching this. And what Spanky did is let it be known to those millions of people, wives are fair game. That's what he announced to the world. So, I don't know why he'd do that, but I ain't doing shit. Anyway, back to this. A taillight ate my homework, sends 15 and says, watching Dr. Wolf's reenactments, I kept thinking there's no way John's just holding a drinking glass after getting hit in the arm with a Lexus. I also wish they captured the sound to demonstrate how loud that would have been to anyone inside the house. That's a good point. It's a good point. I mean, I was very impressed by what ARCCA did. And it's just amazing how we're living in two different worlds where, we're living in two different worlds where people can watch those videos. Like, I watch those videos and I'm like, holy shit, this completely exonerates Karen Reed. And then these idiots are like, oh, game over. ARCCA proved the point for us. What the fuck planet are these people living on? The taillight broke. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that the taillight broke. But so did his fucking arm into a million pieces if that happened. A million. Like, are you kidding me? So, oh boy. Oh, look at this idiot. I got it. They're having, somebody just sent me this. Hot Wheels just sent me this. I'll check this out. So this is in the anti-Karen Reed group. Lisa Rutland. Who's this slam pig? I got to find this pig. I want to look at this pig. Hold on. Lisa Rutland. Did she block me already? She might have blocked me. Oh, no. She's the CEO. Interesting. Is she local, this woman? I'm trying to find out information about her. Wait a minute. I found something interesting on this woman's page. Oh my God. I am screenshotting this. Give me 1 second. Holy shit. If this is, wow. I don't want to rush to any conclusions about this woman. I just saw something very interesting on her Facebook page. So I'll hold off on that for now. Anybody know where this woman's from? Lisa Rutland. I just screenshotted it in case she took it down, but I can't say unless I can confirm it, but I can't confirm it yet. So we're just going to hold off on that, but holy shit. Anyway, this woman says, tomorrow, Sunday, June 8th, so that's at 2 p.m., at the Omni Boston Hotel at the Seaport in Boston, a protest against Karen Reed in memory of John O'Keefe. If you are coming tomorrow, please make your own sign. They will not be provided for you. I'm bringing lots of water for people there, at least 80 bottles of water, more than that. Don't wear pink, please, from a member of another group. So as luck would have it, I'm going to be in Boston tomorrow because I'm meeting my attorney at 3:00. So I'll be there, Lisa. I just want you to know that I'll be at the Omni Seaport. First of all, Karen Reed doesn't stay at the Omni Seaport Hotel because these people harassed her out of there. These people are protesting at what they think is Karen Reed's hotel. This is the definition of witness intimidation, what they're doing right now. The definition of it. I dare you to show up. I fucking dare you, you disgusting pig, Lisa Rutland. And I know about your son. I know who your son is, Lisa. So we'll just leave it at that. What else did she say? Oh, Grant. Oh, God, Grant put comment. Hello, friends. If you want to go to Dedham District Court at 9 a.m. on Monday for Aidan Kearney's first criminal trial, 𝗫𝗏𝗄𝐺 𝗃𝗃𝗃 deserves your support. Oh my God. They are trying to keep out the fact that she's being charged with threatening to murder a woman named Mary Bagwell and her kids. Okay. Aidan is trying to subpoena Paul O'Keefe as a witness in the case. He is charged with violating the order held by 𝗫𝗏𝗃𝗃 while outside the hearing. Anyone who wants to go to the courthouse can simply show up and sit in the public gallery to support 𝗫𝗏𝗃𝗃 and Paul, except for Grant, because 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 Machado is going to be there. So Grant can't go. So I hope Grant knows that. 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 Machado will be there. So Grant can't be there. So see you later, Grant. So that's that. Okay. What else was I looking? I was looking for something in my. Oh, I got a good message the other day. And usually I don't read a lot of messages people send me if it starts off with like, you got to tell the defense this, but I'm not going to tell the defense this, but I'm going to read it anyway. And it says, who on earth gets out of a car in New England in a snowstorm and just stands there for like what, 30 seconds? Basic human nature has us running for shelter. To believe the Commonwealth theory, John got out of the car and stood in the elements and watched Karen drive away and then watched the white reverse lights come on and then stood there like a mannequin to wait to be hit with his arm into the road. We all know any one of us would be running for shelter in a storm, especially if we were fighting with our significant other. I would have slammed the door and ran to the house for shelter from the elements. If AJ hits this point, all the New England jurors will be like, yeah, no shit. We all run out of our cars in the snow and don't look back. This is where the case begins and ends for me. John did not stand there and watch Karen drive away. He ran into the house. Exactly. Like that's the whole theory with the Commonwealth that they're saying, what they're not pointing out is that this happened during a fucking blizzard. He stood there on the side, on the curb, and is like, come and hit me, bitch, with my arm, but just my arm. Just hit my fucking arm. Hit it. It's like William Tell. All right. So we're going to get to all that. All right. Next up. John Ross sends $5. Goes, yellow cottage teeth dismissed 𝗃𝗏𝗃𝗃's testimony out of hand. What a dismissive jerk. 𝗃𝗏𝗃𝗃 is wiser than him. Well, he's an idiot. Dirty Devers sends $5. Goes, hey, Aidan, I need a job. Any chance you could send me Marty Kraft's number? Oh, you could definitely get a job there, Dirty Devers. Trish sends $5 and says, longtime Turtle Rider and Turtle Clubber. Love your reporting and humor, but your website is astonishingly bad. Okay. Randy from Shrewsbury sends $5. Goes, weird omen that me, Randy, left a comment here just the other night on live about how it's not really logical. A grown-ass man would not be able to get out of the way of a car backing up. One thing I forgot to mention, it wasn't just any dude. It was a Boston cop trained in situational awareness and defense tactics. John O'Keefe was no dummy, and Turtleboy leave the sex clubs to us pros in the Shrewsbury. That's true. You remember Sex Master Steve from 2018. Who could forget? Thank you. The Shrewsbury Sex Master. All right. Higgins Hangover sends $50 and says, started following you back when you were outing ratchets in my neighborhood. From your transparency with your struggles to doing what you did for Karen, you have my full support always. You need to keep doing what you're doing. Well, thank you very much, Higgins Hangover. Melissa sends $10. Goes, my niece wrote this spontaneous rap when Spanky was questioning Crash Daddy. Randy rolls, plastic bones, and a painted stare, telling the truth like he's really there. Spin the tail, let the cameras fry, but Randy just rolls and Randy don't lie. Okay, great. Thank you. Kyle sends $50 and goes, hey, Turtleboy, have you heard about MA Bill S1618, minors consenting to medical treatment without parental consent? Norfolk State Senator, by the way. People need to know in committee vote. Okay, thank you. Dan sends $10, goes, I was at a cookout today. And that's not to dismiss what you said. I got no time for anything but Karen Reed right now. Sorry. Dan sends $10, goes, I was at a cookout today. Karen Reed was mentioned. One had never heard of her. One thinks she is guilty. And the rest humiliated that person. Attaboy. Attaboy. Officer Devers Attitude says, hey, Dr. Turtle, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. What, if anything, do you think the Commonwealth will spring on us in rebuttal? Oh, they'll just try to discredit the report, you know? They'll just try to discredit the ARCCA report. So we'll see. Benjamin sends 25 and goes, Welcher won't turn up. He knows they're onto him now. His extra ballistic acrylics theory is ridiculous, and any attempt to apologize for it could put an end to his shameful but lucrative career. Exactly. The Turtle, you know, sends $10, goes, good evening, Turtle. I can feel it, Uncle. Good things are happening. Karen will be free soon. Thanks for being an awesome dude. Marchie deserves a cup. Hank Brennan sucks dick with his butthole. You know, Marchie got a cup. He got a cup in Boston. He almost got a couple more. You know, as much as I want to see Marchie win, it was cool that he won game 2. I want Edmonton to win. It's better when Canadian teams win. That's all they fucking got in Canada. Go Oilers. I say go Oilers. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but keeping an eye on that in the basketball too. That's going to be a good series. Okay. Anyway, back to this. Courtney sends 10 and goes, I watched several older videos and TikToks from Garrett Wing today, and his orating skills are a lot like AJ. He's a great presenter and he's captivating. Also, his knowledge of canines is remarkable. It's truly unbelievable how much he knows. That's why they got to call him. That's why they got to call him. Period. Bob sends 5 and goes, Higgy is so lame. He couldn't get a girl if he paid for a prostitute. Then his friends questioned his manhood while he was drunk. Okay. The Albert Family Rock sends $10. Goes, sorry if this is a double chat. When will your witness intimidation charges be dealt with? Do you have any option other than trial or waiting to see if the Commonwealth makes an offer? We got a couple other options, but I'm just not going to talk about things for once. How about that? We'll just don't want to give too much away. So thank you. Mrs. JD Love sends $11 and goes, hey there, my 6th grade daughter, Rosie Love, is obsessed with Karen retrial and is a huge fan of yours. If you had to guess, do you think the trial will be fully wrapped up? I'm secretly hoping it goes past June 20th. It won't. So she can come watch and maybe meet you. I know you predicted a verdict by the 13th. Will there be any action or chance to see you after that? Oh, there'll be plenty of chances, Miss JD Love. So we'll get it done eventually. Beth sends $20 and goes, what are your thoughts on the 1162 key cycle? I feel like they need to debunk that whole thing. Did I miss it? You're a hero in my eyes. I'm so thankful for everything you've done to shine the light on this corruption and justice. Good luck on Monday. Thank you, Beth. My thoughts on key cycle 1162 is I don't give a shit at all. I don't care about, I don't want to talk about key cycles anymore. I don't give a shit about key cycles. John O'Keefe wasn't hit by a car because the science and the physics says so. I don't give a fuck about key cycles. And then that's it. That's it. I don't care about key cycles like at all. I don't want to talk about key cycles. 𝗳𝗏 had a chance to debunk that. I thought his testimony was hugely disappointing that we didn't get to any of that good shit. I didn't understand it. I thought it was boring. And I just don't want to talk about key cycles anymore. I want to talk about physics, period. Next. Ryan sends $10, goes, free Karen Reed, free Aidan Kearney, fuck Jen McCabe, fuck Brian Albert, fuck Colin Albert, and fuck John DePietro. He finally blocked me, by the way. Took him like 10 years, but he finally blocked me, that coward. He's been out of control lately. That guy. But oh, Hot Wheels sent me another. Wow, this Lisa Rutland chick is a real cunt, huh? Look at this cunt. She says, how is Karen's brain tumor doing? No mention of it since February 2nd. He's some nasty hoes in this group, huh? Wow. Okay. Back to this. All right. Mrs. Kennedy has sent a long thing for $10. Again, you got to keep them brief, guys. Got to keep them brief. Turtleboy, we're here to wax the shell. Let you know the real fucking normal moms love your journalism. Thank you. Saturdays have turned into wine nights for Turtleboy Live. I mean, we love Lawyer, you know, too. But Saturdays, we need to get dirty. Okay, I like where this is going. Hey, Jen McCabe, you can't say stuff like, hey, Jen McCabe, you can't do that because that's going to get me in trouble. I read that. It's clipped as me talking to Jen McCabe. So I cannot read messages where you guys are like, hey, Jen McCabe, hey, Brian Albert, because I have to read it and they will clip that and they're dishonest and they will not say it. So I appreciate the $10, but I cannot read any message that starts with, hey, Jen McCabe. So, but I can read the last sentence that says, Aidan, you will go down in history as a hero, and we love to hear him say it out loud to you. So thank you, Mrs. Kennedy. I appreciate that. Next up, Riddle Me This sends $10, goes, if John's hoodie sleeve was torn by the taillight, did the taillight also tear the holes in the ass of his hoodie, tear his jeans pocket half off, and pull his hoodie string out of one eyelet? Okay. Thank you. Peter sends $10, goes, anyway, we can all see Jim places exactly 18 jury numbers in the drum wheel this time. That's a great question, and I hope the defense brings it up. And I think they will. I think they'll bring it up and they will just say, we need to see all 18 numbers going in there, and we need to see which ones get picked, and they're all in there. And I'll tell you right now. So how the jury works is 10 in the front row and 8 in the back row. And juror number 1 is the first one on the left in the back row. And that's where the Ryan Piotrowski sat last time, and he was picked as the foreman. So in that seat this time, there is an African-American male who is the only one who doesn't take notes. I cannot get a read on this guy. I don't know if he's good. I don't know if he's bad. Right? And then next to him is the only black woman on the jury. And then the rest of the back row has, a younger guy, probably under 30. There's the smirker. Everybody calls him the smirker. He has his probably like late 40s. He's got his glasses down like this. And he just smiles the whole time. He looks at Alan Jackson. He looks at the witness. But I can't tell if he just is like the happiest person on earth or what he thinks, but I think he would be a not guilty. I think he's a solid not guilty. All right. And then, there's other people in the back row. In the front row, so I like the smirker. I like him. I don't know if I like the black woman. I can't tell because she's a little older. I don't like old. No offense. The younger, the better, I think, is in the jury. I don't know. I can't tell. I can't get a read on these people. But in the front row, left to right, there's 3 women who kind of look alike. There's 2 blonde women. I always get them confused. And there's 3 kind of skinny brunettes, and I all get them. One of them looks like Jen McCabe. I get them confused. I don't know. I can't get a read on many of them, but I do have a read, I think, on the jurors in seats. Yeah, people they're going to boot them, but that's the whole point. I want to put it on record right now because they can see these people too. And they need, if I think the smirker is juror number, I think he's juror number 5. And then, so that would make the next 2 I like are front row, second and third from the left, women, both of them. That would be jurors number 10 and 11. If you hear these names called as eliminated, if you hear juror 5, 10, and 11 are eliminated, we have some shenanigans. Please, people, okay, enough of this shit too. People please don't reveal them. Why would he say this? Bro, they can see them too. They're not fucking blind. They see the same shit I do. And Jessica Machado and Sue are in there every day reporting on juror behavior. So please shut up about, don't say this about the jurors. Why would he say this? They're going to get whatever. Shut the fuck up about that. It's better that I preempt it and say, and put the world on edge and say, if you hear the names 5, 10, and 11 picked out of this fucking hat, we got to fucking complete corruption again. Complete fucking corruption. I'm letting you know ahead of time so they're less likely to do it. Everything I do is by design. Fucking everything. Don't doubt me. Doubt me if you want. But that's why I'm doing this. If you hear the numbers 5, 10, and 11 pulled, okay, we got a situation if that happens. I'm telling you right now, it's not good. And then there's a guy in the middle who had his freaking wooden notepad the other day, and you know, he's all writing on it. You know, he had his fucking writing up a storm. He loved ARCCA. He loved it. You know, he loved it. So anyway, what are people saying? People are all mad. People are exactly. Like everything's fine. Everything's fine, guys. What's up, Will? How you doing, pal? But anyway, he's just taking notes. He's good. I like him a lot. We'll see. All right, next up. And, you know, it's like, no matter what, I think it's going to be an acquittal, period. I just do. All right. The turtle, you know, sends another $5 and goes, so after listening to you in the fake victim video, how about we get Jeremy Renner to play you in a movie? In school, teachers used to say, you can have this one. He's a real gem. Yeah. I was just watching The Town too. I love The Town. It's like my favorite Boston movie. But I don't know who's going to play me in the movie. We'll see. But there is going to be a movie. Make no doubt about it. And I also have another big announcement coming soon too. So we'll see. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Okay. All right. Let me read some Cash Apps here. All right. Jen sends $20 and has no comment. Thanks, Jen. Tracy says $5 and says, fuck, you just said you can't read on air. I wrote it. Okay. Chad sends $5 and says, hi. Okay. Okay. I don't understand what Tracy's sending me. She sent me a few turtle chats there. I don't understand what she's saying. Thank you. Taz sends $5, says, any chance Chloe was in that big ass duffel bag? No. Leslie sends $20 and goes, stay strong and keep smiling. Love you. I love you too, Leslie. Thank you. Okay. I think that's it for Cash Apps. All right. If anyone else wants to have their messages read, the link for Turtle Chat is at the top. There's a bunch more I got to get to, but I want to get started here. Or you can cash at me at $ Uncle Turtleboy. Yeah, Sean Penn is like, I do get a lot of Sean Penns, but he's like 1,000,000 years old. Like, come on, guys. Come on. All right. Let's jump right into this testimony. Okay, I got a bunch of timestamps here. All right, what do we got first? Let's see. All right, 105. I got one. 105 is my first timestamp. So I skip over all the education, blah, blah, blah. We know he's wicked smart.
At some point, subsequent to that initial discussion in February of 2025, did we have another discussion about the potential of retaining you?
Yes.
Tell me about that. When was that?
From what I recall, it was sometime in March, and we were trying to figure out.
Sustained. Next question, please.
Did I ask you if you were available to be retained by the defense?
Sustained.
May we approach?
Okay.
Right away, we're off to a rough start. Objection. Doesn't want anything coming out. And I'm glad that he addressed this immediately. He kind of took the sting out of Hank because he knows Hank's going to bring it up. All that bullshit he brought up about emails and blah, blah, blah. Hank didn't really do much with that this time around. It just didn't hit at all. And it didn't matter because the testimony was too effective. It just was, period. Okay. Next timestamp I have here. 111:26. 111.
Did he ultimately arrive at those final conclusions? So I'm looking for the methodologies that he followed, what testing did he do, what type of experiments, what type of data analysis, ultimately to provide that opinion.
Ultimately, did you prepare a PowerPoint presentation in furtherance of memorializing your review and opinions and conclusions of his evaluation and testing?
Yes.
Did you bring that with you today?
Yes.
Do you have that with you on your computer, or are we going to run the PowerPoint?
It's on this computer up here with me.
With the court's permission, could Dr. Wolfe present his PowerPoint presentation? Okay. Your Honor, I have a thumb drive that I believe represents PowerPoint. Do we have this marked?
Yes, is this coming into evidence? All right, so we'll mark for identification.
We'll mark for identification for the time being. Discuss it. Thank you.
Should it be BB for identification?
May I proceed, Your Honor?
Yes.
Dr. Wolfe, do you see what's displayed or presented up on the TV screen?
Yes.
All right. Do you have with you, by the way, just a matter of housekeeping, something called a spotlight?
Yes.
Something that can...
Oh, I think it was dope.
With just the first page, the title.
If we can move to the next slide, please. Describe what we're looking at in this slide.
This is from Dr. Welcher's PowerPoint presentation, slide 121, in which he's indicating that there are lacerations on John O'Keefe's right arm and forearm. And he's indicated in this slide that the location and orientation of the lacerations on John O'Keefe's right forearm and arm are consistent with the geometry and orientation of the right rear taillight of the Reed 2021 Lexus LX570.
In coming to your opinions and conclusions, and I know this is a mouthful, did you consider the opinions and conclusions of Dr. Welcher in conducting your analysis and your ultimate testing?
Yes.
Did you rely on Dr. Welcher's report and his PowerPoint in reaching your conclusions and opinions ultimately in this case?
I don't know that I relied on. Certainly, I utilized them to have an understanding of what his basis was for his opinion and what his opinion was. Ultimately, at ARCCA, we did our own independent testing to evaluate that.
So just to be clear,
so Dr. Welcher, if that's what you want to call him, says that in his report that the location and orientation of the lacerations on John O'Keefe's arm are consistent with the geometry and orientation of the right rear taillight of the Reed Lexus LX570, and he did that by putting his arm up for some reason near the taillight and then painting it blue. And it's like, and then he got the blue paint on him, and that's science to him, going 2 miles an hour. And so case closed, it aligns. Like, that's insane that he actually did that. Okay. And so his job now is to explain how this is impossible, right? And it's like, I don't understand this. I haven't heard an explanation from an attorney about this, but why is Judd Welcher allowed to basically just criticize and rip apart ARCCA, but they can't do the same to him? I don't get it. I'm just a regular person. I'm just an award-winning journalist. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know.
I'm not asking Dr. Wolfe if you agreed with his opinions and conclusions. I'm simply asking, did you rely on those in order to come to your opinions and conclusions? Did you incorporate them?
Sustained his.
Did you agree ultimately with Dr. Welcher's opinions and conclusions?
Sustained.
You certainly were aware of what his opinions and conclusions were, correct?
Before Mr. Jackson on that.
Were you aware of Dr. Welcher's opinions and conclusions?
Yes.
Are some of those opinions and conclusions represented in your PowerPoint?
Yes.
Are some of them represented on this slide in your PowerPoint?
Yes.
You indicated that this slide indicates that the location and orientation of the lacerations on John O'Keefe's right forearm and arms are consistent with the geometry and orientation of the right rear taillight, correct?
Correct.
Are the injuries to John O'Keefe's arm lacerations?
That would be an opinion from my colleague, Dr. Rentra.
Have you ever heard the phrase abrasion?
Yes.
In your opinion, are the injuries to John O'Keefe's right arm better described as lacerations or abrasions?
I don't have an opinion on that.
Okay. Slide number 2, please.
Test, if you will, just demonstrating holding his right arm out adjacent to the rear taillights on the right side of an exemplar Lexus to demonstrate his theory of how the arm contacted the taillight.
What is a static test?
So I'm sustaining that. Ask it differently, Mr. Jackson.
What is a static test? So, like, he is here now to explain why this is retarded. We all kind of know it's retarded and not scientific, but Judd Welcher stood. I mean, just again, the emailer before what he said about this, it's exactly the point. Okay, I guess you could technically put your arm out like that, but explain to me the logical and believable scenario in which this scenario plays out. Please tell me why he would ever just be standing there with his arm out like that. Like, why? 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 Why?
And I'm going to strike that.
I'm going to strike that.
What testing did you note that Dr. Welcher did with regard to this particular photograph? What is a static test?
Well, in a static test, that neither the arm or the vehicle is moving. It's just he's aligning his right arm adjacent to show how his arm aligns to the geometry and the dimensions of the Lexus.
Did Dr. Welcher appear to be wearing similar clothing as John O'Keefe was wearing on January 29, 2022?
Yes.
Is there any significance or purpose for that, in your opinion?
In this test, no.
Yes.
Did you?
Was there any significance or purpose of that? Just taking a little shot at him there. Like, it's not science to do that. There's no, other than to just cosplay.
Identify any limitations with regard to this sort of testing undertaken by Dr. Welcher?
Well, it's very basic in that the only thing that this demonstrates is that you can get your right arm to align with the taillight. Beyond that, it doesn't tell you anything with respect to what happens to the arm when it makes contact with the taillight, right? What's the motion of the arm? What's the damage to the taillight? What's the acceleration of the arm? What's the forces of the arm? So it doesn't answer any of those other questions. The only question it answers is, does the arm align with the taillight?
You're aware that John O'Keefe was 6'1", correct?
Correct.
Is the only person, let me ask you this way. Can only a 6'1" person align their arm with the taillight?
No.
No, the arm is adjustable, so certainly people of different heights could also meet that alignment as well.
Exactly. They're like, oh wow, he's 6'1" or 6'2". His arm fits perfectly. I'm 5'8"3/4". Okay. I could also align my arm with the taillight too if I want to, or just pick it up a little more. That's all. Someone who's 7 feet tall could also do it by putting his arm down more. But again, why does anyone have their arm reaching out into the road like that? Why? Why?
In your arm, right? How would you describe the ability of somebody 5'7", 6'3", being able to align their arm with the taillight?
Just changing the orientation and the posture of your arm.
Was there any scientific significance, in your opinion, of this particular test?
Again, other than just demonstrating that it aligns with it, no, nothing beyond that.
Next slide, please. What are we looking at here?
So this is an extracted frame from one of his dynamic tests in which the vehicle is moving at about 2 miles per hour into his arm, making contact with his hand, his forearm, and his elbow.
What is a dynamic test as it relates to a static test?
So that's when something's in motion, and in this instance, it's the Lexus moving at about 2 miles per hour into his arm.
Did Dr. Welcher explain what the purpose of this test was?
From what I recall, I think it was to demonstrate that when his arm makes contact with the taillight, he observed paint transfer in the general location that there were the abrasions or the lacerations on his arm.
Did he appear to paint the taillight?
He did, yes.
Do you see that Dr. Welcher appears to be wearing an orange T-shirt? Okay. What is he wearing?
Appears to be an orange T-shirt.
Is that similar to what was described as John O'Keefe having worn that night on January 29, 2022?
Yes.
Is there any significance to wearing that T-shirt?
Not that I can think of, no.
Did you note any or identify any shortcomings with this particular test?
Well, much like the static test, again, it leaves the door open to all those questions, right? About, again, doing this at 2 miles an hour doesn't tell you anything about, well, what happens at 10? What happens at 15? What happens at 20? Right? In terms of what are the collision forces? What's the damage? How does the arm move? What would the expected injuries be, right? This dynamic test, as well as the static test, doesn't answer any of those questions for us.
Yes. Thank you, doctor. Thank you, doctor. Thank you for pointing out the obvious. This test doesn't prove anything. It doesn't show what the injuries are. You did it 2 miles an hour. All that shows is you can, if you want to, align your arm with the height of the tail light if you want to, I guess. It is possible to align your arm at so he proved that. That cost $400,000. $400,000.
Is this test from Dr. Welcher considered a force calculation?
I'm not aware of him making any type of force calculations or measuring accelerations or anything of that nature, no.
Did Dr. Welcher conduct any testing to determine whether the damage to Ms. Reed's Lexus was consistent with the striking of an arm of a pedestrian?
I'm not aware of any impact testing that he did, no.
Did Dr. Welcher conduct any testing to determine the forces necessary to cause the damage to the taillight of Ms. Reed's vehicle?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Did Dr. Welcher conduct any testing to determine the forces necessary to cause the injuries to John O'Keefe's arm?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Did Dr. Welcher provide any opinions as it relates to the speed of the subject Lexus at the time of the alleged incident?
No, from reviewing his report and his PowerPoint and analysis, I could not find anywhere in it a specified speed or even a range of speeds.
Did Dr. Welcher provide any opinion as it relates to the forces experienced by the taillight in such an impact?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Did Dr. Welcher provide any opinion at all as it relates to the post-impact trajectory or movement, if you will, of John O'Keefe's mass or his body subsequent to the alleged conduct?
No.
No, not that I'm aware of.
Next slide, please.
He didn't do shit.
Do you recognize this photograph?
Yes.
What is this?
So this is something that you probably heard and certainly have discussed already, but this is looking at the right rear corner of the subject Lexus. So this is now the taillight obviously has been removed from the vehicle. So obviously what's important here is looking at what is the damage that we have to this taillight? What components were damaged in this alleged interaction? So we're looking at the clear diffuser at the bottom is fractured and missing. Same with the ones on the vertical side. The majority of the outer red lens is also missing and fractured.
All right. So this is a new word, a new cool word that's going to be really important. Diffuser. Does anyone know what a diffuser is? I'm going to Google it. I don't even know. Diffuser. I'll let the chat help me out with this, dude. Diffuser, taillight. Okay. What is the diffuser? Actually, I got a little video here I can show. I just Googled it. It distributes light throughout the taillight, people say.
Diffusers do is they use Bernoulli's principle, which means as air speeds up, pressure goes down. So along this throat section, so we actually have three throats on this diffuser because the strakes actually create three diffuser sections. We wouldn't this huge hole on the rear. We can actually improve drag, which is great for street.
Wait, the fuck is this? This is not a taillight. Okay. Anyway, it diffuses. I guess that's a thing. It diffuses light. But can anybody point it out to me where?
And on the back.
So this is the tail light that's in police custody, right? And what's this? Where's the diffuser?
Side, we alleged interaction. So we're looking at the clear diffuser at the bottom is fractured and missing. Same with
the clear diffuser at the bottom is fractured. What's that? What is the clear diffuser? This down here, it's fractured and missing. So this is, it's along the trim. Okay, whatever it is, it's important. And it's broken. It's gone on Karen Reed's taillight. But as we're going to see, it doesn't get broken during their testing. It doesn't.
With the ones on the vertical side, the majority of the outer red lens is also missing and fractured. And then on the back side, we also have some damage in terms of some fracturing to that black plastic. And there's also a chunk of plastic missing on the top portion of the taillight as well.
I want to ask you a couple of questions about that diffuser. If you could focus your attention on this area. Describe for the jurors what they're looking at in terms of the diffuser. What is the diffuser?
Right. Let me see if this. So the diffusers, right where my mouse is, there's a clear diffuser that runs along the bottom, and then there's another diffuser that runs along here, and then it also goes up vertically. Same here on the bottom one, that also goes up vertically. So this piece was missing and fractured on the bottom, along with the vertical portion. The chrome piece here you can see is also fractured and damaged, and then the kind of the second tier, if you will, that clear diffuser was also fractured and broken on the upper section as well.
Was that of significance to you in your review of the damage to the taillight?
Yes.
Why?
Well, because that tells me that we have to have enough force and energy to break, we talked about earlier, that 5mm thick red outer lens. We have to have enough force to be able to get beyond that, to now start penetrating into the interior components of the taillight, to get to, again, those clear diffusers, and certainly cause damage to get induced out the back end of the taillight as well.
May I have just one more?
Yes.
What a cool explanation that was. So I get it now. So this is new information that none of us had, and the jury was all taking notes on this. That's all that really matters, is what the jury thinks. And the jurors, I could tell you in there, were taking vigorous notes on this, which means they're paying attention, which is really important, because this is police custody now. That diffuser is gone. It's destroyed. So it should get destroyed during their testing too, right? It should.
I was just looking for it.
Yeah.
Thanks for nothing. Describe what it is that you brought with you.
So I brought a two-part assembly. So what I did is I 3D printed a bracket so that I could mount the liftgate taillight assembly as well as the quarter panel.
Yep. So he brought his own taillight.
Is that what you just described?
Yeah, there we go.
Correct, yes.
Describe it one more time for the court and the jury. What is it that we're looking at right here?
This is awesome.
So this is an exemplar set of taillights from a 2021 Lexus LX.
They were just enthralled, the jury, when this guy busted out the taillight. I didn't see that one coming. And she does not like this at all. Look at her. She's so mad about it.
570. On my left side here, this is the liftgate taillight assembly, and it's attached to the quarter panel taillight assembly. And I don't know, it's not normally like that. Obviously, you can't have a connector, else you wouldn't be able to open the liftgate, but I've printed a bracket back here so that these can remain as one unit.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, I'd like to have that marked as next in order.
Is that coming into evidence?
Yes, if possible.
Is that okay?
Okay.
Okay. So how?
May I approach?
Yes.
This might be clunky. Thank you. You just have a tag, perhaps put it somewhere on the maybe the face side.
And is Dr. Wolfe going to use it for his testimony now?
Yes.
Okay,
Very
so give it back over there, please, Chrissy. Just give it to him. Thank you.
The 250.
Watch this though.
Yes.
She was pissed. She was pissed. Did not like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dr. Wolfe, you indicated that there was a 5mm area of acrylic covering the diffusers, correct?
Correct.
What I'm knocking on, is that the 5mm acrylic?
Yes, both on the quarter panel part that you just pointed
That's what really pissed off Bev when he did that. Watch this.
Area of acrylic covering the diffusers, correct?
Correct.
What I'm knocking on, is that the 5mm acrylic?
Yes, both on the quarter panel part that you just pointed to, as well as the liftgate part.
Mr.
Those-
Jackson, why don't we give that back to the witness and let him do it instead of you?
Sure. Is there?
She pissed. She did not like that. She did not like when he knocked on it because the jury heard that and they're like, "Oh, that cut his arm up. What is that thing?" Just something didn't feel right about that.
Can you see through that loose material into the diffuser that you've just been describing?
Yes. So as I mentioned earlier, in this area here, there's a diffuser that's running along the bottom.
So, Dr. Wolfe, I'm going to ask you, we don't have that so close to the
My apologies.
Use the other side of the witness stand.
Yes, Your Honor. So along the bottom is the clear diffuser that runs along and then goes up vertically. And then on the second tier, there's also a clear diffuser that runs along here and then goes up vertically. And you might be able to see it through, it kind of looks like there's little dots on it. So that's what I'm referring to in terms of the diffuser that's underneath. And that, again, so you have that outer material that's 5mm roughly in thickness. And then those diffusers are about 3mm in thickness underneath this.
Could you make a determination, and you can go ahead and have a seat. Well, actually, you may not want to. Could you make a determination of the space, the gap between the outer plasticine area, the outer acrylic area, and the internal diffusers? You could just estimate that gap?
If I had to estimate, I'd probably estimate around an inch, maybe an inch and a half.
Okay. You indicated that something was of significance to you in this photograph about the diffusers on the subject taillight, correct?
Correct.
Describe, now that you're holding that, what was it that was of note to you, Dr. Wolfe?
So as I mentioned, we have damage not only to this outer thick portion, but it was enough force and energy to then penetrate deep enough to fracture the underlying diffusers that sit below this outer surface, and certainly enough force then to work its way back through inducement into the backside. And ultimately, there was a top portion of the taillight that was also fractured up here.
Was all that significant to you in your review of the subject taillight material?
Yes.
Okay, you can go ahead and put that away.
So that's big. So basically, like I said, they like that the fact that the diffuser, which is over an inch away, so you have to break the taillight and then you got to fuck the diffuser up too. And that would be a lot of, or it just got fucked with afterwards, maybe.
So that can't go back there because it's in evidence. So why don't we take it and...
It can't go
I'm
back
just
there.
going to store it there until he's finished with his testimony, and then we can give it to the clerk magistrate. However you want to do it, Your Honor. I have no preference. What are we looking at here?
Photograph that are glass fragments, which, as I discussed earlier, there's no glass in the taillight, so these did not originate from the assembly. But altogether, from what I recall, there's about 50 fragments, I believe, that were counted or so, maybe a little less than that from the right taillight.
If we could go to the next slide, please. What are we looking at here?
So these are photographs depicting the sweatshirt or hoodie that Mr. John O'Keefe was wearing on the night of the alleged incident.
And what was the role that this played in your analysis ultimately?
Well, so one of the things that I noted, and I can go to the next slide, is there were a series of small punctures or holes in the sleeve, on the right sleeve of the sweatshirt in varying sizes. I think some as small as just a few millimeters. Again, I think there was maybe 10 or 12, I think I recall, on the right sleeve of that sweatshirt. If we could go back to the larger photo, the previous slide, do you see the right sleeve denoted on the photograph to the right? Yes.
All right.
Or a pool, right? When I do.
So then he jumps into this. He does the whole Newton's law, right? And I like this. This is basic science shit.
That. But even though it's been around since the late 1600s, we still use these laws today. So what we're looking at here is what I've done is just describe Newton's laws very simply. So and again, you might be familiar with these. So for instance, if we're talking about Newton's first law, an object at rest tends to stay at rest and at a constant speed unless it's acted on by an outside force, right? So if my arm is just here, right, it's just going to stay there until I give it a push or a pull, right? When I do that, that's going to induce an acceleration, right? So that's when we get into Newton's law, where if I apply a force to a mass, I'm going to cause it to change its speed. It's going to accelerate. And then Newton's third law, basically the law of reaction, indicates that when I push on my arm, there's also an equal and opposite force going back to my hand that I'm pushing with.
What role did these three very fundamental laws of physics play in your reconstruction or your ultimate opinions and conclusions following your acts of reconstruction in this case?
So when we're talking about the concept of acceleration, what you will see in the dynamic test that we did and conducted, we measured the acceleration of an arm when it's impacted by a taillight. If we know the mass of the arm and we've measured the acceleration, we can use Newton's second law, which is force is equal to mass times the acceleration, to calculate what that force is applied on the arm, which ultimately you will hear from my colleague, Dr. Rentschler, to talk about that.
Is that broadly considered a force analysis?
Yes.
What role did force analysis, your force.
From my perspective, I was interested in the speed and the force to look at what's the observed damage to the test taillights that we did.
Do you think that's fundamental to an accident reconstruction?
Yes.
Did Dr. Welcher engage in any force analysis
Here we
with
go.
regard to John O'Keefe's arm and the taillight?
Objection.
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Oh, not that I'm aware of now. So he did no. Again, I don't understand the objections. They let him ask that, but not other shit. I don't know. Did Dr. Welcher do any force analysis? Did he actually look at the physics and the math of this all? No, he painted himself blue. That's what Judd Welcher did. He painted himself blue. And then if you questioned him, he got really snarky with you about it. He took his pen out and his calculator out and he made a PowerPoint out of it. I mean, wow. Wow.
Let's move to the next slide, please. What are we looking at here?
So don't be too afraid. This is some really simple equations that I want to show you. So that first one, delta V. So what do I mean by that? That simply just means you can think of delta, change in. So change in velocity. So if you look at that equation, the change in velocity, really simple. If I've got an object that's, let's say, it's initially, for what V0 is, initially at 0 miles per hour, I hit it, and it's now moving 10 miles per hour. That means it underwent a change in speed of 10 miles an hour and is moving at that velocity. Acceleration is essentially how quickly did that velocity change occur, right? Did it go from 10 miles an hour in a split second, or did it go to 10 miles an hour over a few seconds? So depending on the timing of that, how quickly that change in velocity occurred will determine what the acceleration is. And as I've already mentioned on previous slide with Newton's second law, we can then take that information about acceleration and apply it to, if we have a known mass, to calculate what the force on that object is.
How did these math equations, delta V, acceleration, force, how did these play into, what role did they play in terms of the accident reconstruction here in this case?
Well, they're extremely fundamental. And I think as we go through the PowerPoint, you'll have an appreciation and understanding of what these concepts are. You'll see that I have plotted graphs with acceleration that shows the rate in that change in speed over time. You will see graphs of delta V, so the change in speed of the arm as it's being impacted by the taillight. And then ultimately we can calculate the force of that impact to be able to assess whether or not there's a mechanism for the injuries. And as I mentioned, that'll be my colleague, Dr. Rentschler, that will discuss that.
Can I ask you about delta V specifically? I'd like to focus on that for a second. Is that okay?
Yes.
When you say that,
All right.
equation,
I'm going to go to 141.11. So it's all math. He's using math. He's using science to figure out the physics and the force it would take for, I mean, this is all stuff Welcher didn't do.
Say at 20 miles an hour, that arm will experience a change in speed. It'll go from 0 up to about 20 miles per hour due to that impact. So that would be the change in speed. If my arm is at rest, stationary, is impacted by a 6,000-pound vehicle, it's going to change its speed up to roughly what that impact speed is.
So if the arm is hit at a car, by a car going 20 miles an hour, the arm will move 20 miles an hour. I mean, that's basic Newton's laws of physics, and he's just explaining that. Your arm getting whipped 20 miles, dude. It's these videos. We gotta get to the videos.
What about acceleration? What are you describing, or what is math or physics describing in that equation in terms of the time it takes for that arm to now move from
there? And at least my understanding of reviewing Dr. Welcher's work, it appeared to be that his hypothesis.
Here we go. This is the part. Hold on.
If damaged taillight. So let's try to do some research to figure out, okay, has anyone done testing with that, right? Has anyone hit an arm with a taillight, see what happens, see what the forces are, right? And then we start to make a hypothesis, right? So what happens? It's kind of an if-then statement. If the arm contacts the taillight, does the taillight break? Does it not break, right? What's the hypothesis there? And at least my understanding of reviewing Dr. Welcher's work, it appeared to be that his hypothesis.
Sustained. Next question.
Sure. Did you review? Well,
I mean, you're just not. I don't understand this. You're just not allowed to speak badly of that. They're just not allowed to speak badly of that. I don't know.
Let me ask a different question. Going back to the calculations previously, the delta V, the acceleration, the force calculations that you described to the jury, did you see anywhere in any of Dr. Welcher's reports or his data that he undertook those core calculations?
No.
With regard to the scientific method, did you see whether or not Dr. Welcher followed this scientific method as you're explaining it to the jury?
Sustained.
Sustained.
What did you note, or what opinions or conclusions did you come to about the scientific method, if any, that Dr. Welcher did or did not undertake?
Sustained.
Sustained.
Did you review Dr. Welcher's entire database? In other words, all the reports, all the raw data, and his PowerPoint?
I don't understand
Did
either.
he undertake the scientific method as you know it?
So that's sustained.
Continue to describe the scientific method as you know it and you employ it.
Certainly. So
that's all sustained, but I think the jury gets the point. One guy used science, the other one didn't. Period.
Again, from reviewing Dr. Welcher's report, he indicated.
Sustained. I'm going to see the typo.
He's like, I don't know how to explain this without pointing out what an idiot Judd Welcher is. I don't know how to do that. But they win the day, and he's not allowed to talk badly of Judd.
Eating, so you can
Sure.
get to it without that.
Yes.
Did you find any?
No.
Other than the static blue paint test?
That was the only test, correct.
Did you see any force dynamics testing?
That's leading, so you can get to it without that.
What about any other testing? Anything else that we've talked about? Do you see anything else done in Dr. Welcher's?
As it pertains to an analysis to the taillight and the damage in the forces, no.
Let's move on to the next slide.
All right. So basically, he made his point there, even though it all gets objection sustained. So they got Alexis too. And now he starts getting into some of the testing. So let's jump to this part right here.
Arm as it's impacted.
Does that accelerometer
is a uniaxial accelerometer? So that's going to measure, we talked about that term earlier, right? The acceleration. So that's going to measure how quickly is this arm changing its speed, right? What's the acceleration of the arm as it's impacted?
That is so fucking cool. That is so cool. And probably so expensive too. I can't believe this only costs $50,000. They have an accelerometer that measures the rate of acceleration that that object will have after it's hit. That is fucking cool. I mean, that is so cool that they have this. Anyway, back to this.
Does that accelerometer put in motion some of the mathematical formulations that you talked about earlier?
Yes.
Let's move to the next slide, please. Tell me about these photographs.
So the importance of this is, more specifically looking at the right photograph here, might be a little bit hard to see, but we wanted to get the same exact sweatshirt or hoodie for the testing to evaluate if the taillight breaks, is there a mechanism for the fragments to penetrate and cause holes in the sweatshirt as were observed in Mr. John O'Keefe's sweatshirt?
Next slide. Were you successful in finding the exact replica sweatshirt?
Yes, and I will note, as I mentioned, I know it probably is hard to see, but the material blend on the sleeves are the exact same. They are 60% cotton and 40% polyester.
So they also cosplayed, but they did it for scientific reasons. He just cosplayed for some, Judd Welcher dressed up as John O'Keefe for some unknown reason. He also took his sweatshirt off when he got hit for some unknown reason. But these guys did it because they wanted the exact percentage of polyester and cotton to test whether or not it's going to get torn. That's what they want to see. Will it end up looking like John's when it's all said and done here?
Is it important in your mind to maintain consistency with the data that you received concerning John O'Keefe's clothing?
Certainly. I think we wanted to try to control as many variables as we could.
Let's move to the next slide, please. Test A. Describe Test A for us, please.
So you're going to see a series of photographs and then videos, but Test A was mounting a preconditioned taillight on that linear impactor to accelerate it into the hybrid 3 arm. Pack test was conducted. On the right, you're looking at a thermal image that is depicting the temperature profile of the taillight.
Describe that thermal image.
Certainly. Your Honor, may I refer to my notes? Profile of the temperature down in this area. And when we look at that segment, that lower portion here, where contact was made, the average temperature in that area was about 34 degrees with a minimum of about 33 degrees.
How did you get that exemplar taillight down to around freezing?
So all of the taillights that we tested were preconditioned overnight in a freezer.
Why was that important?
Well, it's my understanding that at the time that this allegedly occurred, the ambient temperature was 31 degrees Fahrenheit. So as I mentioned earlier, certainly there's a correlation between how plastics perform in cold weather. So we wanted to take that variable into account in our testing to precondition them down to temperatures that were consistent with at the time of the alleged incident.
I mean, that's scientific. They're like, we kept the taillight in the same temperature as it would have been that night. I mean, this is science, folks. This is cool.
Next slide, please. What are we looking at in this slide, on this photograph?
So this is a video. Do you want me to go ahead and play the video?
Tell us what we're about to see, and then I'll ask the court's permission.
So you were looking at a camera that is mounted above the entire setup. If you look at the top portion of this video, you will see the taillight. Part of it's covered by the high-speed camera. But what will happen is the linear impactor.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at this.
What is this?
So this is also a video, but with the high-speed camera. So it's the high-speed camera that's looking top down at the arm. So you will see when the video plays, you will see the taillight enter from the left and contact the arm. And I will note that this is essentially slow mode, so it's not happening in real time. So you'll see the taillight slowly moving.
It's played. How did you
moving at 10 miles per hour?
Understood. Go ahead and play that.
Look at that whiplash.
Can I ask a question now that that's played? How did you mount the taillight to the accelerator, that linear accelerator?
Right. So we had to get a little bit creative there because you may have observed this when we had the physical assembly out earlier. The back of that, it's not some nice clean surface that we can just bolt on. So what we have
no bruises.
Particular 10 miles. What are we looking at in this slide?
So this is looking at a side view. So same task, just looking at it from the side. And similar, you'll see the taillight come from the left and impact the arm.
If we can play this, please.
Just look at that whiplash. Look at that. Look at his wrist. Watch this.
So this is looking at a side view. So same task, just looking at it from the side. And similar, you'll see the taillight come from the left and impact the arm.
This is 10 miles an hour. Ready? Look at that. Look at that shit. Look at that. That's 10 miles an hour. That is going to fuck you up. You might break a bone doing this. You might. You'll definitely get a bunch of bruising, and that's at 10 miles an hour, right? But the taillight doesn't shatter at this speed. It shatters later on.
What did you note in terms of deflection of the arm?
Exactly. Like that's bruising.
Well, the arm essentially, and we'll see this in the data later, it reaches a common velocity with the taillight. Based upon the portion of the arm that was contact, again, consistent with how Dr. Welcher has it oriented, it will become accelerated up to 10 miles an hour roughly.
Over approximately what period of time is that arm accelerated up to 10 miles an hour along with the taillight?
We'll see it on the data plots. I think it's about 10 milliseconds or so.
How long, do you know how long an eye blink on average takes?
Off the top of my head, no, I don't. Probably pretty quick.
Somewhere around 250 milliseconds. Does that sound right?
Sustained.
Let's move to the next slide, please. What are we looking at in this series of photographs?
So these are extracted frames from the high-speed video that we just saw on the previous slide, basically showing just at contact, just after contact, and then post-contact. So you can see the kinematics of the arm and how the arm is moving.
Okay. Let's move to the next slide, please. What is this photograph?
So this is photographs taken of the taillight after the 10-mile-an-hour test. I will note that there was a couple small fragments of the clear portion of the assembly, the outer.
Yeah, so the taillight's basically fine, is this point here, at 10 miles an hour, okay? And then, but this is what it looked like. So 10 miles an hour is ruled out, basically, after seeing this, all right? And then this shows how the arm moves at 10 miles an hour, so Newton's first law, blah, 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 blah. Then we take a break for a while, okay? Then we come back. And let me tell you guys, the jury during this time was enthralled with this guy. They are enthralled. You can tell just by looking at this jury that they get it, man. I'm telling you, they like this guy. Personality matters. It matters. He was so goddamn likable. He's so cool under pressure. And he's very professional too. I tried to introduce myself to him. I went up to him in the hallway and I went to shake his hand, and you could tell like he didn't want to shake my hand, right? Because he's just like, but he also didn't want to be rude. But I just said, Dr. Wolfe, Dr. Turtleboy, one doctor to another, nice to meet you. And he kind of like reluctantly shook my hand, which I appreciated that he didn't want to do it. You know what I mean? He felt uncomfortable doing it because he's like, he's already taken enough shit for this. You know what I mean? As being seen as biased, but I was just being polite. One doctor to another, I'm going to introduce myself. Sorry. I also introduced myself to Dr. Russell, no, and I did say that. I mean, I said that. I mean, we're both doctors. So in the doctor community, we stick together, we refer to each other as doctors. So, but he didn't dig around. He wasn't like, hey, Turtleboy, I heard a lot of good things about you. He kind of looked at me like he probably knew who I was and like didn't want to be seen shaking my hand. You know what I mean? Which I appreciated. I do appreciate that. So he's very likable. And like he walked everybody, like you should have seen him. He walked during the lunch break. He walked down the street towards Dedham House of Pizza. I don't know if he got food or something there, but like when he was just by himself walking down High Street there, and then he was walking back and all the women were out there taking pictures of him. And like, he's like, cool. I was like, oh shit, it's Crash Daddy. He's tall too. And he's just walking along. Everybody's taking fucking pictures of him. People, because he doesn't want to be like that, the Lucky Loughran treatment where it's like, did you take a picture with this person? Like that's what they're already accusing these motherfuckers of. So like, he's very professional and he's very cool, I think, I don't know.
Is this slide 35?
I would say he's like, somebody's like, I would say he's like 6'3". That would be my guess. He's definitely tall. He's a man,
Let's go to your notes.
This is slide 36.
36, got it. Okay. We can be a little bit more brief, I think, because is this similar to the 10-mile-an-hour test just with increased velocity?
Correct.
So yeah, they do 17 miles an hour. And as we're going to see here,
it's from the expanding foam that we use. So that's kind of what you see in the background there, kind of going over.
So that breaks a little
kind of the arm and the taillight there.
Do you note more damage or less damage to the taillight at 17 miles an hour versus the 10-mile-an-hour test?
There is more damage, yes.
Let's go to the next slide, please. What are we looking at here?
So you're looking at a top-down view from the high-speed camera. You'll see the taillight enter from the left, impacting the arm at about 17 miles per hour.
Okay, go ahead and play it.
Boom.
Can you describe the decoupling that's shown here?
Absolutely. So as you can see, where the two are basically married together, right? It's kind of actually coming back together now. So that bond that we had, right? This is the most effective way that we could mount it to the impactor. It just became detached due to the force of that impactor stopping at the end of the stroke.
Understood. Next slide, please. What are we looking at here?
So in this slide, you're looking at another high-speed video. This is just a side view. Again, you're going to see the taillight enter the frame from the left, impacting the arm at 17 miles per hour.
Is this in slow motion as well?
This is in slow motion, correct? Not real time.
Okay.
Bro, look at that shit. Look at that shit. Look how fucking hard it hits. And the tail, you know, the tail light does break.
What do you note in terms of the deflection on the arm?
The arm, as we saw in the previous one, is accelerated up, so it's moving out at roughly a common velocity with what the impact speed was.
And what did you note about the damage to the taillight?
It was more significant than the 10-mile-an-hour test, which, again, there was very minimal damage to that, where several fragments of that red outer lens fractured as well as the clear lens.
Okay, next slide. And what is this depicting?
This is extracted frames from the previous video just showing right at contact, during contact, and post-contact.
Next slide, please. What is this a photograph of?
This photograph is depicting the damage to the taillight at the conclusion of the test, where, again, it's missing fragments of the outer red lens. I will note that the interior diffusers and plastic components are intact in this test.
So everything's intact. So 17 miles an hour, inconsistent with what you saw. That taillight's not complete. It's cracked a little bit, but it ain't completely destroyed. The internal diffusers are completely intact, and we haven't even gotten to the arm injuries. I will be right back. Gotta hit the head. Be right back. Hold on. I can't even. It's like you can't think when you have to, you know?
Ayo, silly, got drunk at the hilly. I can't PD and I can't find my willy. I'm just here for a little attention. Yeah, I got severe hypertension. So why you trying to get to know a Higgy better? Can't and whores, Bella's mom and Schmarietta. I don't know, I'll give it a go. ATF's big show, I ain't no hoe. I don't need a new man with the double D rack. Never mind, Higgy, your game is whack. You're the whacker to my weed. Your game is whack. I'm not trying to hear that, see? I'm not one of the girls trying to get locked down. Prince Higgy, baby, Jameson crown. I get down with the hilly low comp ticket. 16 whiskeys is how I kick it. And you get excited for a midnight snack. I already told you, your game is whack. You're the whacker to my weed. Your game is whack. I'm not trying to hear that, see? Your game is whack. You're the whacker to my weed. Your game is whack. I'm not trying to hear that. I like sleeping alone. This won't go all night. A little needy and strange. It's true love at first sight. I'm the real deal. I do what I gotta do. From the rip, my whole heart's for you. Your whole heart is not for me. Not a half, not a quarter, not a clog, not a read. You know what's the problem? You're trouble in your heart. I'm big, thick neck daddy Higgy. He's not. I got a question, not to be rude. Are you queer? Cause you keep calling me dude. Are you glad that you had walked me out? No self-doubt and you didn't cop out. No last words, I'll just mutter abide. Don't diss the caterpillar and sweat the butterfly. All of them girls must have got you gas. And when they see a good thing, they don't triple bypass. Well, for this town, that's right on track. Cause for me, your game's too whack. You're the whacker to my weed. Your game is whack. I'm not trying to hear that, see? Game is whack.
All right, we're back. All right, next timestamp. What do we got here? So that's 17 miles an hour. Done. Not happening. So now we're up to 250. Let's see. 7. We already played that part. 303. Okay. So accelerometer. Basically, they keep showing that the arm also moves at the same speed or accelerates at the same speed, etc. Then they kick it up a notch and they go this too. They take it outside for the faster ones.
Same vehicle that was utilized in all the tests, C, D, E, and F?
Correct, yes.
If we could go to slide 49, the next slide. What's depicted in this photograph?
Well, so there's a number of things here, so I'll try to point them all out. So obviously, we talked about just now the Lexus here, the exemplar vehicle. We have a forklift that was hoisted up that ultimately was suspending the arm. I think I have an additional photograph that shows it close up. But the arm was suspended from the forklift at the correct height to interact with the taillight. We have our high-speed cameras set up under this umbrella. There's another one over here. Another thing you'll notice is we brought out the chest freezer when we were installing these in the Lexus to, again, keep them at that steady state temperature for as long as possible.
So he's got a fridge out here for the taillight. Keeping the taillights at the correct temperature. Look how expensive this shit is. and then they have the arm hanging here suspended, and they're just going to hit the arm.
If we could go to the next slide, please. What are we looking at in this photograph?
So this is the approximate position that
The forearm, the hand, the elbow, positioning the arm this direction, this way, as it relates to the SUV.
Well, I think as I stated earlier, it was to understand, you know, okay, let's get beyond just simple geometry aligning things. What happens to the arm, right? What are the accelerations? What's the damage, right? What we want to answer some of those other questions that Dr. Welcher didn't answer.
Oh,
So I'm going to strike the last part of that.
oh, I love that. We want to answer some of the questions that Dr. Welcher didn't answer. Shots fired. And then Auntie Bell's like, we're going to strike that. You're not allowed to criticize Judd Welcher in her courtroom. You're just not allowed to. How dare you besmirch the great Judd Welcher? We're going to strike that one. Yeah.
Does this configuration align with your understanding of Dr. Welcher's alignment of the arm as it relates to the vehicle?
Sustained.
May we approach your arm?
Yes.
Okay, and then we fast forward a little bit. So he comes back.
The vehicle that we'll see.
So it will make contact with the tail light. Although I will note in this test, ultimately the contact ended up being more of a clip or a side swipe in this test.
Go ahead.
This is 15 miles an hour. Oh my God. Just look how fast that shit is, dude.
In this test.
Go ahead.
It's just crazy when you see it in real time that this is 15. Come on. Oh my God, bro. It just comes out of nowhere. Bam, dude. I dare you to fucking put your arm there. I dare you to try that shit, dude. Do you understand how much that would fucking hurt? Oh my God, your arm would be so fucking bruised. It would be covered in broken bones. Ow, that would fucking hurt your shoulder. Like, I think, probably, might knock it right off the fucking hinge. Like, dude, that would hurt so fucking much. Ow, 15 miles an hour. But John O'Keefe, his arm is fine. It's just got fucking scratches. The biggest, what hurt John O'Keefe wasn't the physical force of a 3-ton vehicle hitting him at that rate of speed. It was the taillight fragments that cut him up. That's what really hurt him. I can't wait for Rentschler to explain the arm. Dude, look at that shit, bro.
Did you see the impact area?
It's quick.
Right. What did you mean when you said more of a side swipe?
Oh.
So I think the next couple of videos will help demonstrate that.
Let's move on to the next one.
Look at him.
What are we looking at in this video? I'm sorry, in this photograph.
So this is.
Look at Dr. Daddy standing around. Look at Dr. Crash Daddy with his hands on his hips. So proud. Look at him.
It's going to be a high speed or a slow-mo video. You're going to see the Lexus come in from the right and then move across the screen to the left. And you'll see contact occur between the tail light and the arm.
Okay.
Boom.
Can you explain for the jurors using this video what you meant by more of a side swipe or clip?
Right. So this is where the hand and the wrist are kind of in the area of the quarter panel taillight, and then a portion of the forearm in contact with, I'm sorry, what I previously said, the wrist and the hand in contact with the liftgate portion of the taillight, and then on the forearm is more in contact with the quarter panel taillight.
Can we move to the next slide? And what is this angle? An analysis.
Freely.
Same shit. Bam. You can just hear it. Bam. No one hears this inside. Boom. You know what I'm saying? Boom. Like that. It would be fucking loud, dude. It would be fucking loud. So anyway, back to this.
That in this first one of contact, again, we don't have, the hand isn't and the arm aren't positioned as far out on the previous test. And the hand is in the area and the wrist of the liftgate taillight with part of the forearm in contact with the quarter panel taillight. And as you saw in the video, essentially the arm just kind of moves out of the way of the vehicle as it comes by.
Understood. Next slide, please. What are we looking at here?
This is a photograph of the test vehicle subsequent to the test, depicting the, I'll say, lack of damage to the taillights.
Describe what you did see in terms of damage or lack of damage on the taillight.
There was no damage or fracturing to the taillights.
No,
Of the arm touched the taillight. It's probably a clunky question, but I think you understand it.
I don't know if I could break it down into, I think just.
So no damage at 15 miles an hour. None. But yet John's, again, so it's inconsistent with what they see. So 15 is ruled out. Next one.
Staying with test D.
And look at this. They even got it on a fucking drone. So now we're kicking it up a notch. Now we're going to 29 miles an hour. Dude, this is when shit gets real.
What is this depicting?
This is a drone video showing a top-down perspective of the test with the Lexus starting on the left-hand part of the screen, accelerating in reverse into the suspended hybrid arm over here at the location of the forklift.
Okay. If we can watch this video, please.
Okay, can we just stop it with this guy's stop with the fucking paranoia? I shook it's my fucking fault that I shook Dr. I did it because I fucking wanted to, okay? It's not gonna come back to hurt Karen. Shut the fuck up. Some people just because a thought goes through your fucking head doesn't mean you have to type it out and enter. You don't have to fucking do that. You don't have to fucking do that. You're allowed to shut the fuck up. You're not, nobody's getting in trouble because one grown man shook another grown man's hand. And the other guy didn't even want to shake my hand. He looked confused. And guess what? Shut the fuck up. Okay? That's it. Like Jill Daniels said. She said it best. All right. Where'd it go? Do I have that?
Oh, shut the fuck
Whoa, we're getting a little off track.
Your life. Shut the fuck up.
There you go. You don't have to say that, okay? So Jesus Christ, I'm going to cost Karen the fucking case. I shouldn't even read the chat. I'm going to cost Karen the case because I shook a man's hand. Shut the fuck up, seriously. Just shut up. Anyway, back to this. Boom.
Your next slides show, there you go, the suspended arm. What are we looking at here?
So this is a video camera that was positioned on top of the forklift looking down at the arm. So you'll see the vehicle move from bottom to top as this video plays.
By the way, Dr. Wolfe, what are the purple and white lines that we see have predominated?
Oh my God, look at that.
What are the purple and white
lines?
lines?
Look at that. Hold on.
With the arm, so you'll
this
see
is even crazier, dude. Look at this fucking speed.
The vehicle move from bottom to top as this video plays.
By the way, Dr. Wolfe, what are the purple and white lines that we see have predominated?
Bro, where'd that come from? What was that? Look at that shit.
I'm sorry, I was talking.
A video camera that was positioned on top of the forklift looking down at the arm. So you'll see the vehicle move from bottom to top as this video plays.
By the way, Dr.
This just comes out of nowhere. It's like a fucking train. Look at this shit.
What are the purple and white lines that we see have predominated?
Dude, fucking destroyed. 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 You ain't gonna have a fucking arm after that. Your arm is gonna be I can't believe the trolls are so fucking stupid. They don't see the big picture here. Or maybe they do and they're just too retarded to figure out and they're just dishonest. I don't know. And that's another good point. No offense to the 80%, but ain't no fucking way a woman driver who doesn't know her way around town, is shit-faced in the snow, is going to drive with that sort of precision. Ain't no fucking way. You are not Cruella DeVille, okay? Stop it. She is not doing that. Stop it. Stop it. It's just fucking... Oh, I have it sped up. That's right. That's a good point. That's true. I am on 1.6. You're right. Let me do it normal. Let me do it normal. That's fair. That's
cool. Move from bottom to top as this video plays.
By the way, Dr. Wolfe, what are the purple and white lines that we see have predominated?
That's still pretty fucking fast. That's still like, dude, your arm is gonna get fucking destroyed. And Dr. Wren, again, that's not very scientific of me to say that. I am not. Yeah, you can't, like, you guys know that Cruella DeVille scene in the final crazy woman driver, that part. Yeah. But like pulverized, dude, pulverized. Give me a break. Give me a dude. But John O'Keefe was he lasted 20 more seconds. He actually took his arm out, and read a text message right after hit like that. What?
I'm sorry, I was talking over that.
Sorry, I
That's
didn't.
okay. What are the purple and white lines that we see?
So those are guidelines to help. I will note that this is kind of like a needle in a haystack. It's very hard to hit this small of a target. So just served as a guideline to reference as we're accelerating rearward into this.
Is this in real time?
This is in real time, yes.
What's the speed that the vehicle is entering the frame at?
29 miles per hour.
Thank you. What happened to the arm in terms of its suspension?
It actually gets ripped off from the mounting location.
Is there a reason you believe physically that arm was ripped off from the suspension tethers?
Well, certainly there was enough force to break the tie lines to the forklift.
Was there a test value of those tie lines?
I think they were rated at 150 pounds.
What does that suggest in terms of the force that was exerted, just before we get to the other testing, the force that was exerted on the arms to tear off the tie lines?
Well, it indicates that the arm saw at least 150 pounds of force.
Okay. Next slide, please. What are we looking at in this video?
So this is going to be a
different angle of it.
Next slide, please. And what is this?
This is a video, a high-speed video, so slow motion of a test D at 29 miles per hour into the ATD arm that is suspended. So you'll see the Lexus enter the frame from the right and impact the arm.
Okay. Was this strike more reflective of what you were attempting to replicate?
Yes, this was a more central impact to the arm. Yes.
Like, you're not even going to die from that. Sorry, you're not even going to die from that. It's just going to hurt like a motherfucker. It's like when the Taliban chops your hand off because you were, stole a loaf of bread, or they caught you masturbating or something like that. You're just going to feel some serious fucking pain. Serious pain. But you're not going to die from that. It's just going to fucking kill. Like, you're just going to be like, you might lose your arm for that. Like, your fucking arm is never going to be the same after that. And I'm so glad ARCCA did these tests, because I'm watching these in person and the jurors are watching this and they're like, oh my God. Wow. Because they all have, the thing about the 18 jurors is that every single one of them has two arms. And so they know what arms feel like. And they felt pain. They've been hit in the arm before. Like, dude, you ever give your brother a Charlie horse? Like, fucking punch him right in the arm? Dude, shit hurts. I got a fucking bruise from that. Fucking go to your buddy and punch him in the arm a few times. You get hit by a fucking 6,000 pound car going that fast. You ain't got an arm anymore. But the thing about it is you're probably going to live, which makes it even more painful. Like, dude, you're going to live. Like, because it's just your arm. Like, that's crazy, man. Crazy. Imagine being this retarded. And all the trolls took from this was, but the taillight broke. You're missing the big point, dipshits.
Next slide, please. And what is this?
So this is a high-speed or slow-motion video depicting the test D at 29 miles per hour, just a different perspective than the previous video.
Okay. Next slide. And what are we looking at here?
So this is extracted frames from the high-speed video.
Yes, we get it. Okay, so it will break. But it doesn't break in the same... Notice that the majority of the part that breaks...
So starting out left to right.
Is that consistent with what you saw in Dr. Welcher's test, where he had his arm in that still shot associated with the geometry of the car? Okay.
Sustained.
Is this consistent with what you were trying to replicate after your review of Dr. Welcher's report?
Yeah. Sustained. Can I ask you differently?
What were you trying to replicate, or why were you trying to replicate this at the 29 mile an hour test in this particular orientation?
We were trying to see, based upon Dr. Welcher's orientation, what happens to the arm in terms of the acceleration and the damage to the taillight at that configuration at contact.
Okay, next slide, please. What are we looking at?
So this is a photograph depicting the damage to the liftgate taillight as well as the quarter panel.
So the liftgate taillight did not break in Karen Reed's. Just this part broke where she backed into John's Chevy Traverse. This part would not hit the Chevy Traverse. This part would. This is the only part that's broken. And notice how the majority of the taillight on the Lexus LX 570 is on the right. It's on the right-hand side of the car. So that picture they love to show from Charlie Ray's car at 823 at One Meadows Ave that shows a big white part, a big part of the taillight missing at 823. That doesn't show the vast majority of the taillight. Nobody disputes that part was broken. It's the part on the side that shouldn't be broken, but it is.
Taillight.
And what do you note in terms of that damage?
So on the liftgate taillight, we're largely intact in this test.
Next slide. What is this side-by-side depicting?
This is showing the results of the 29 mile per hour impact test to the test vehicle compared to that of the subject taillight.
Given that orientation of the test, and was that testing conducted in accordance with the scientific literature and generally accepted methodologies in the field of accident reconstruction?
Yes.
Is the damage to the right rear taillight consistent with striking John O'Keefe's arm at 29 miles per hour? When I say the right rear taillight, I mean of the subject vehicle.
Sustained and supposed to that.
With regard to your opinion concerning whether the subject taillight is consistent with striking an arm at 29 miles per hour, do you hold that opinion to a reasonable degree of scientific certainty?
Yes.
Next slide, please. What is depicted in this graph?
So this is looking at the acceleration of the hand in the 29 mile per hour impact test with peak accelerations close to 800 Gs at 2 milliseconds.
So same shit. They do this with everything. If you hit an arm at 29 miles an hour, it will accelerate at the same rate that the vehicle is. Newton's laws of physics, blah, 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 blah. Let's fast forward to 339. Another test. Actually, was this part.
After each of the tests.
All right. So now we're on to the 24 miles an hour part.
EF. Were you replacing the taillight with new exemplar taillights that had been temperature accounted for?
Yes. Every test had a new set of quarter panel taillights, as well as liftgate taillights. And even in the test where the taillight in the 50 mile an hour test where the taillight was not damaged, we still put on new taillights. We did not repurpose or reuse any of the taillights.
Okay. Thank you. If you can play this for us, please.
This is amazing. So this is, the trolls are loving this one. The trolls are like, this is evidence that John was not hit. That John was hit by a car. They love this one because he's dressed up. He's standing next to the car. And what are your thoughts on this? Do you guys think that just the visual of this is bad news? Do you guys think the visual of it? I don't think it is at all. And I think Dr. Rentschler is going to explain that. But what are your thoughts on that, chat? Let's see what people have to say about this. Is this a bad look? Because the taillight shatters, right? And he spins. This is the Joe Paul thing. What do you guys think? And elaborate besides no. A lot of people are like, no. Okay, so no, John doesn't have bruises. Okay, for the dumb people it is. The diffuser didn't break off. Good point. No, because the elbow would have shattered on impact. It's not accurate because he wasn't wearing an orange shirt. It proves he wasn't hit the way he says he was. The arm is not broken. We haven't gotten to that part yet because he would, but we haven't heard that part yet. We haven't heard this. That's what Dr. Rentschler is going to opine on. What would happen to John's arm? And we will hear that. That's the important part. That's why it's like everybody loves Crash Daddy #1. I like Crash Daddy #2. I think he's got more interesting things to say, quite frankly. He's underrated, Dr. Rentschler. A lot of people forget about him. Okay. All right. So this is, but I'd also like to point out, let's watch that one more time. Didn't Judd Welcher also say that his head got hit by the spoiler? Again, just why is he standing there? Okay, so that hits him. Oh my God, dude. Just the unnatural motion of the fucking arm. Right? It does spin him. But it doesn't launch him. He does a fucking... And I'm sorry, but like... Nothing else on his body gets hit. Nothing. Again, you're not going to die from this. Then explain the injury on the head. Oh, right. He fell down and hit his head on frozen ground.
Next slide. In this configuration, was the ATD outfitted with the hoodie that you earlier described?
Yes.
At the time you outfitted the ATD with the hoodie in this configuration before this test E, did you confirm that the sleeve, the right sleeve, was damaged or undamaged?
After this test?
No, before.
Before it was undamaged before the test.
Okay. What are we looking at in this slide?
So this is still frames from the high speed. So starting out on the left here, just at contact. So the forearm making contact with the liftgate taillight, and then the upper part of the forearm and the elbow making contact, a direct hit into the quarter panel taillight. And the middle here is just after contact, and on the right is post contact.
Thank you. Next slide, please. What are we looking at in this video or in this picture?
So this is a overall photograph depicting the taillights subsequent to this test at 24 miles per hour. I will note that there's no damage to the liftgate taillight, and then there is damage to the quarter panel.
So this is the trolls are loving this one because it's not the exact same thing, but that looks a lot more like the taillight than the 29 mile an hour test did, etc. And that's using a whole body. The 29 mile an hour test just had the arm, right? But again, the diffuser, it didn't penetrate like the one that in Karen Reed's car did. The diffuser is fine.
Is there any damage to the internal diffusers on this taillight?
So if I go to the next photograph, if I may.
Please.
So you can see here, there is this kind of thicker, it's actually not a crack. So I'm looking at the clear diffuser here with the dots that you see. This line that you see, kind of opaque. I don't know if you've got a laser pointer.
No, man. Yes.
Just so there's no confusion. Thank you. So the line right here that's part of the assembly. So that's just a part of how the plastic is molded. There's a very small crack right here in the underlying diffuser, but all of the remaining part of the diffuser in terms of this portion here and here are all intact, and same with this portion of it.
What about the chrome piece that's running between the diffusers?
I don't believe that was damaged during this test, no.
And what about the clear acrylic toward the top left of that taillight housing?
It was partially fractured, but not the entire outer portion of it.
Next slide, please. What is this depicting?
So this is a photograph depicting the quarter panel taillight subsequent to the 24 mile an hour impact test with the ATD arm compared to that of the subject taillight.
Based on this test, were you able to reach any opinions and conclusions as to whether the damage to the subject taillight is consistent with striking John O'Keefe's arm at 24 miles an hour?
Sustained in that form.
Were you able to reach any opinions or conclusions as to whether the damage to the subject taillight is consistent with striking an arm at 24 miles per hour?
Based upon the test results, it's inconsistent with striking an arm.
On what do you base that opinion?
I base it upon the test results that I've shown in terms of the video and the data acquisition.
Can you describe that in a little bit more detail?
So during this test, we had the instrumented hybrid arm outstretched from the test dummy with the accelerometer on the hand and the forearm. We had data acquisition on the vehicle, monitoring the speeds of the vehicle. We accelerated that vehicle into the arm at 24 miles an hour to conduct a dynamic impact test to collect data certainly about the acceleration that the arm experienced, but then also make observations about the damage that we observed to the taillight.
Do you hold that opinion that we've just discussed to a reasonable degree of scientific certainty?
Yes.
And were your tests conducted in accordance with methodologies that are generally accepted in the field of accident reconstruction in this particular test cycle?
Yes.
Next slide, please. What are we looking at in this series of photos?
So these are photographs depicting, excuse me, the test clothing. Again, prior to the test, there were no holes.
All right, so this is important. The clothing. The clothing's fine.
The sweatshirt, that was the same post-test. We did not see make any observations with respect to any fraying, holes, punctures to the material of the sleeve.
Was there any damage whatsoever observed on the right sleeve of that ATD?
No.
Next slide, please. What are we looking at in terms of
35 Gs?
Okay.
Of the handle about 2.
What happened to the mass of the body of the ATD?
It rotated.
Was it projected at all off to the side?
No.
Was it projected rearward?
No.
Was that rotation expected based on your experience?
Yes.
What is the 29 mile an hour impact test in test F?
So this was a test that we conducted with a.
So the next test that they do, they get his ass run over. They put him out a little bit more. And so this test, I mean, this is
what's known as a rescue Randy or a test dummy. That was a full-on impact to the right rear corner of the Lexus.
Let's take a look at the next one. On the arm itself?
Correct, right in the area of the elbow to the quarter panel taillight.
As opposed to a side swipe on the arm?
Correct.
I mean, John O'Keefe was fucking lucky, huh? Like, it was like an inch away, man. She's lucky. He's so lucky that she only hit the arm. She didn't hit the whole body. Wow, that was fucking close. That was a close one. He could have died. But he did die somehow. What the fuck? You have to be retarded to believe this.
Yes.
Did you undertake to test a direct impact on the body of the ATD in this test?
Of the Rescue Randy dummy?
Yes.
Yes.
What are we looking at here?
So this is the intended impact configuration with the...
What are we looking at in this photograph? Was the taillight housing reassembled for this test?
Yes, it had a preconditioned new set of taillights on it.
And other than the taillight being damaged several times that we've seen, was there any other damage to the rear of that exemplar vehicle?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Sure. Other than the taillight damage that you rotated through in your testing, C through F, was there any other inherent damage to the tail of the lift gate that existed when the exemplar vehicle was received by you?
When it was received, no, it was in good condition. No defects or damage were noted.
Okay. What are we going to expect to see in this video?
So in this video, you'll see in the surveillance video, the Lexus will come from the right to left, strike the Rescue Randy, and then you'll see the Rescue Randy projected and slide on the ground.
Okay.
Rescue Randy. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
Can you play that one more time, please?
So again, the Commonwealth is not alleging this happened. So this is not a theory that they're alleging. It's just one of those things you got to rule out. But it's crazy to think, man, if John O'Keefe was just a couple inches more inwards, he would have got fucked up.
Next slide, please. What are we looking at in this series of photographs?
So this is a extract from our VBox software and data acquisition system. So on the top, you'll see the video. On the bottom is the data. So
Let's try out.
Contact between the test dummy. This, obviously, during the collision sequence, the vehicle has its crush to the liftgate section of the vehicle.
So this car gets fucked up. Like you actually get dents and shit if you actually run them over.
Bumper step was popped out, and then there was some minor fracturing in the bumper cover at the lower level. Blew out the outer lens cover. I believe the part of the clear diffusers were actually still
exhibit the same type of damage to the diffuser as the subject taillight.
I'm not sure I understand your question.
More or less at what?
It was less in all of the tested taillights than that of the subject taillight.
Did you reach any opinions or conclusions as to whether the damage to the right rear taillight of the subject 2021 Lexus is consistent with an impact to John O'Keefe's right arm during a high-speed reversing maneuver?
Sustained in F1, Mr. Jackson.
Did you reach any opinions or conclusions as to whether the damage to the right rear taillight?
So you guys get the point here. Everything's inconsistent. Now we're going to go to Spanky's rebuttal. And he struggles. So he starts off with the usual nonsense.
What you do. There's other things that ARCCA does as far as clients, right?
Certainly.
Did you share with us that you work for lawyers and law firms?
Yes, we do.
And you do litigation, insurance companies?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any reason why you highlighted the Department of Defense that you don't do and the NHL, but didn't share the rest of the stuff with us?
That's just some of the prominent clients that we have.
I see.
Yeah, this fucking idiot. So he's like, immediately he tries putting it in. As soon as he said insurance, I'm like, oh, wow. He listened to Ronnie's interview, but so did the defense. Because Ronnie's interview, Ronnie said that the other jurors just kind of discounted what ARCCA had to say because they decided that ARCCA was hired by an insurance company to just say that there was no crash. And so Hank immediately jumps on that because Hank listens and watches every fucking thing that I say. But guess what? So does the defense. Last night on Turtle Club Sex Cult, we played Canton Confidential, and Ronnie was back on there. And one of the things Ronnie, because he's like a big shot now. So when I interviewed him, one of the things that he said he would like to see is what they would have liked to see, the jury would like to see, was a video of a demonstration. Ask and ye shall receive. Ask and ye shall receive. So, you know, that just shows, I'm sorry, but like, you can shit on me all you want, call me a blogger, whatever. No, that's award-winning journalism, folks. That's what that is right there. I found Ronnie. No one else found him. Now he's Mr. Big Shot, but I found Ronnie. I was the first one. I tracked him down. I got his email. I emailed a bunch of jurors. I found a whole bunch of their identities. I tried to contact all of them. The only one who got back to me was Ronnie. And I just took a shot at it. I'm like, you want to come on and you want to interview me? And he's like, sure. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, folks. So I interviewed him, and you can like him or you can dislike him, but you have to listen to him. You have to listen to what he's saying. It's really important. because that matters, because they get to decide, not us. They get to decide whether or not Karen Reed's guilty or not. Okay, they get to decide. So it's really important to hear what's going on in their minds. I see a lot of people being like, he's an idiot, though. If you feel that way, it doesn't matter. You still have to listen to what he's saying, period. Okay? The defense, Ronnie's feedback is overrated. Defense is going way too light on Albert Higgins. Well, if you say so. So they get this guy. And that was and so I write about it. I interview him. I write about it. And now the defense acts on that. That's award-winning journalism, guys. It is. It's like, without me, none of this shit is happening right now. ARCCA doesn't do the tests with the dummies on the videos if I don't do that Ronnie interview. I hope you guys realize that. That's what got them to do it, is my interview with Ronnie, period. Back to this.
You provided us a CV, didn't you?
Yes.
And that's like a resume. Tell us a little bit about your education experience. You get to highlight some of the things, your accomplishments.
Yes.
You shared with us you've been the director of accident reconstruction at this company, ARCCA, since 2017.
No, not since I started.
You started with ARCCA in 2017.
Correct, yes.
When did you become the director of accident reconstruction?
I think that would have been in January of 2024, so about a year and a half.
About a year and a half ago?
Yes.
And you received your certification from AFKR?
Yes.
Did you pass the test on both parts the first time?
I don't recall if I think it was I had to retake, I think, the practical section in the afternoon.
Well, you would recall something like that, wouldn't you? Did you pass both parts on the first try?
Like I said, I think it was the second part I had to retake.
Well, this is a pretty important test, isn't it?
Not really.
It's your certification.
It is, but much of the concepts that are covered in it are very elementary.
Well, not so elementary. You had a hard time with part of it, didn't you?
Well, with respect to the portion that I had to retake, it's a practical.
He's so polite. Like, he's like shitting on him. Like, oh, not so elementary. Well, but he's just so polite about it. Like, he doesn't get rattled. Hank is trying to rattle these guys. He can't rattle any of them. But yet 𝗃𝗏𝗆 was so rattled the whole time. And the fact that Hanky's even going there after Shannon, after the dude lied about having a bachelor's degree. And he's like, but did you fail a test on your first try? You know who else failed her proficiency exam? Maureen Hartnett. A lot of people forget that. Like, okay, so he failed the test the first time and then he passed it the second time. Okay, so in other words, he's qualified. Thank you.
Exam where you have to reconstruct an accident. You have to determine approach angles, departure angles, and it can be very sensitive to those inputs. And unfortunately, if you mess up one of your first angles and you carry out that calculation, then the whole problem is graded wrong, even if you did all the math correct.
So we understand the multiple choice question part, that's the easier part, correct?
I don't know, it's easier, but there is a,
okay.
I don't know his name.
Who set up the car?
It was someone on the defense team.
Okay, so now we get to this portion of it. Is like, how'd you get to work today? I think.
No, I mean, I had to communicate with them to be able to determine when to appear for testimony.
So you were communicating with them, yes?
Yes.
In fact, some of the time that you spent, ARCCA actually billed the defense lawyer and they paid that bill, didn't they?
Eventually after the trial, yes.
During that time, you know what a sequestration order is, don't you?
Yes.
Do you think that you're under a sequestration order today?
Yes.
Did you talk to anybody about any of the prior testimony in this case before today?
No.
How'd you get here today?
How did I get here today? I took a car ride over from the hotel.
Who drove you?
It was a driver. I don't know his name.
Who set up the car?
It would have been someone on the defense team.
Was it like a window, like a limo?
It was an SUV.
Was there anybody from the defense with you on the ride over?
There were 3 young ladies in the back seat. I think they might have been interns, and Mr. Woke. Mr. Woke, I think it's pronounced. Am I saying it wrong?
Have you discussed anything about this case before you testimony today as far as the trial?
Before today? Yes.
Have you discussed anybody's testimony in this case?
Nobody's testimony, no.
That was different last year, though, because before you testified last year, you did have discussions about testimony, didn't you?
Not with the Commonwealth or the defense, no.
But I'm asking, though, you did have discussions about testimony before you testified last year, right?
Correct, yes.
And you know what a sequestration order is, don't you?
Yes.
Didn't one of their witnesses admit that they violated the sequestration order? I know that was 𝗃𝗍𝗄𝗏. So, yeah, just petty. It's just, he just looks like a douche asking him questions like this. How'd you get here? In a car? Oh, was it a limo? No, it was just like a car. I don't know. Just you know, they're paying. Yeah, they gave me a ride. If this is all he's got, this is how you know he's losing. Like, so all the trolls are like, oh yeah, victory. It's like, bro, if Hank Brennan really thought this went well, those videos, he wouldn't be pointing this shit out. This is all he's got, dude. This is all he's got.
After you testified last year, the court ordered you to provide all of your text messages, all your communications with the defense, didn't they?
Yes, earlier this year.
And when you were ordered to provide all of the actual verbatim communications with the defense, did you provide those communications?
Oh, yeah.
Text somebody, isn't there?
Correct.
And when you texted, how many texts do you think you had?
Oh, my God.
Conversation, correct?
April or so of 20.
How many of those text messages?
So he deleted some text messages. Who cares? Who cares? Like, I don't understand the infatuation with the text messages because if they spoke on the phone, you wouldn't be able to hear anything, right? So if deleting text messages is shady, isn't talking on the phone also shady? Like, isn't that not shady too? Because why? You don't want us to hear what you're saying? Well, yeah, kind of. Because it's a private communication. But okay, I mean, why are they even allowed to talk on the phone? If every single communication between the defense and one of their witnesses is property of Hank Brennan, then why are they even allowed to talk on the phone at all? Why they shouldn't be allowed to meet in person, right? Every single one of their messages should be written out, right? The fuck? Who cares?
I just swiped the conversation, so it would have been a whole conversation.
How you did it? How many of those 100 or so text messages did you delete, sir?
It would have been the whole text chain. I didn't individually delete them. It just, when you swipe, it just deletes the text chain.
After you deleted them, did you go into the recently deleted and then delete them so they were unavailable?
I don't recall doing that.
Well, you were asked.
And the audacity, again, of him to say shit like this. When Brian Higgins took his SIM card out of his phone and put it in a trash bag, and his phone in another trash bag, the day before a preservation order was put in place, and disposed of them at a military base. And this guy's talking about, did you delete messages? Like, seriously.
Search your records of the text messages. Did you do a thorough search to see if you still had them or whether you had destroyed them all?
I checked my phone, and I also checked with my phone carrier.
So do you know if they were still under the recently deleted part of your phone, would you go and take that extra step and totally destroy them?
From what I recall, I did not find any of the text messages, no. Inspections, and I don't have a habit of keeping a text chain that talks about logistics and things. It's just I routinely delete them after that communication was over with, and certainly after the prior proceeding, once it had concluded, there was no reason for me to preserve those.
I delete messages all the time because they take up space. When I go to my storage on my phone, I did a bunch today, actually. It's really annoying. Some conversations I keep because I'm like, oh, I might need this later, you know, something like that. But like other ones, I go to iPhone storage, and I mean, I have 128 GBs in my phone. I think that's a lot. And I've used 116.9 of them. And then messages take up 38.4, which is by far the most. And I have 45,000 pictures and videos in my phone, but yet the biggest one is text messages. So I delete text messages all the time if it's stupid shit. And I don't delete one by one. I delete the whole fucking thing. Like, what the fuck? Maybe I have like 128 GBs. That's a lot. Most people don't have that many. So like you got to delete a lot more than me do. You know what I mean? I have that because I hate deleting shit. It's annoying. I have so much shit in my phone. But even with 128 GBs, I run out. But it is what it is. Anyway, back to this.
And so at some point you switched from text messages to another form of communication, didn't you?
Yes.
Here we go. Here we go.
Tell us a little bit about this new form of communication, not text messages.
So Mr. Jackson had indicated that he and his defense team utilize an application known as Signal for their communications amongst their defense team. Ultimately asked if I would also use that application to communicate, which I agreed to.
Is Signal an encrypted app?
It's a secure encrypted app, yes.
It doesn't leave any records, right?
I don't believe so, no.
Well, you have it. You're using it. Do you have any records from your Signal use?
As soon as if you're bringing up Signal and their obsession with Signal, you've already lost, dude. Again, Signal is one of the most popular messaging apps in the world. It's like one of the most downloaded apps ever. And it is encrypted because people like privacy. Like that's the whole point of it, is they don't like the government getting into their shit. Like also Facebook Messenger, that's a good point, is now encrypted. Like when I message on Facebook now, it's all encrypted. So if you use Facebook Messenger, is that shady? And again, I go back to my other thing. What if they talked on the phone? Then you couldn't read them anyway. And the defense uses Signal because they like their communications private. The government has barged into Karen Reed's home twice and stole her phones. They've done it to me too. Why wouldn't you want to use Signal app? They act like it's like, ooh, nefarious drug users use it. Again, they're getting their talking points from 𝗃𝗄𝗄𝗆. That's never a good thing because 𝗃𝗄𝗆 is retarded. We've heard her in court before. And it's not going to end well if you get your talking points from 𝗃𝗄𝗆, period.
You don't allow that?
Do you have any records from your Signal use?
I do not, no.
So you know full well that Signal is an encrypted app, leaves no record.
There may be a setting that you can change. I just know that the way that it was set up, there was no record.
Who set yours up to have no record?
I don't know. I think it was default.
Have you ever checked your Signal app to see if you have any?
So this guy obviously doesn't know shit about Signal because he never uses it, but the defense does, and that is how they like to communicate. And so he's like, yeah, sure. Okay, you want to talk at Signal? Sure. How do I do that? Okay, I ask people to do that all the time. Like, dude, download Signal real quick. We'll talk on there. And I can set it up where shit auto deletes, right? Like, like what do we have here? Let's see. Like I have it with like some people is not like I don't set anything up to auto delete, but some people do. And like for instance, like when everybody knows I've messaged with Karen Reed on Signal, right? And ours auto delete after 4 hours, right? She set it up that way. I didn't set it up. So he obviously didn't set it up. The defense, whoever he's talking to, that's their setting, right? Not everybody wants a fucking record of themselves talking. Again, if you talk on the phone, it's also not memorialized. So like, who cares? Hank doesn't understand the Signal app. This is like cringe boomer cross-examination here. That's what's happening.
Any record of your communications pursuant to that court order?
Well, I don't have the application anymore, but at the time I did check the application.
Out of all these clients that you've had, how many times or how many clients would you use Signal with?
This was the first time.
Have you used it since with other clients?
Not yet, no.
You like that? Not yet. No, I would if somebody asked me to. So maybe I will in the future. I don't know. Whatever the client wants, I do.
Before you testified last time, at the last proceeding, or should I say when you testified at the last proceeding?
I'm going to fast forward.
Kind of like the day you...
Correct.
When you testified to the court, you testified that you had been qualified as an expert, testified over 20 times, didn't you?
I don't have the transcript. I believe I said approximately 20 times.
The reality is you hadn't. You testified and you qualified 11 times.
Correct. I misunderstood the question. I thought it also encompassed deposition, so I added those two and approximated at 20.
And at some point when you realize...
Another failed gotcha. He's like, this is the best he had. It's like, you testified that you have previously testified 20 times. He's like, yeah, I said that. But I thought that included depositions, which is also testimony. It's just in civil cases. So, yeah. And then he corrected it. So he corrects it. The next time he gets in front of the court, he corrects it. Or no, he wrote something up that corrected it. And then he doesn't bring it up and he doesn't make the correction in his testimony. But it's not his job to make it. He doesn't want to pull a Maureen Hartnett and be like, I have a correction I want to make. That's not how it works. You answer the questions that are given to you, Spanky. And Spanky, again, this is how you know he's got nothing. He's got a losing case. All right, next one, 519. Sorry, my voice is going, so don't bear with me.
Think that you suffer from any confirmation bias in this case?
No.
Do you have any close family that supports one side over the other? Not the facts of the...
Look at this. You don't do this, motherfucker. You don't bring up a man's... This is when he knew it. You're going to talk about my wife, dude? You could talk about my wife?
Data, but one side over the other.
Close family?
Yes.
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Wife?
My wife?
Yes.
I don't really know what her thoughts are on the case.
May I approach?
Yes.
How is this allowed? How does this cunt judge allow this shit. His wife joined a Facebook group. His wife, that's it. That's everything. And like this is after the trial had ended. His wife Dana joins the Facebook group, and all the women in there are like kind of are like, oh, Crash Daddy, your husband, you're a lucky lady, all this shit. And then she goes, I think he's happily married, but I will let him know that like you guys think he's so handsome. Like that's all. I'll let him know. It's like a joke. And somebody else posts, this is so kind. Thank you for the nice words. I'll pass it along to him. Definitely share the word for his company. Lots of fantastic and intelligent employees. And then she liked a comment that said, your husband is a hero forever in mass and around the country. Behind every great man is a great woman. And she liked that comment. God forbid a woman likes a compliment about her fucking husband. I mean, this is just insane. Like, what is it? What are they, Amish? Like the woman can't do something without her husband's fucking approval? Why the fuck is he responsible for this? This is outrageous. And again, you don't talk about a man's wife. Look at him.
Have you looked at that document? Seen that before?
No, I have not.
Never seen that.
No.
You're unaware of anything that may influence you to lean one way or another?
Correct.
When you first took a look at some of the facts in this case, you had some information. Since then, you've received a lot more, haven't you?
Correct, yes.
Part of your testimony today to this jury was to provide opinions. Yes. And they're relying on the fact that you're representing something definitively or with an opinion to a reasonable degree of certainty. You understand that, right?
Yes.
And don't you think when you do that, that it's important that you have proper study and foundation before you just come into court and give an opinion?
Well, I will note that the ATD crash dummy is a generally accepted test device to use for not only assessing occupant forces in motor vehicle crashes, but also to assess impact forces. So that the use of that device is certainly generally accepted.
Can you get uncomfortable with my question? You generally tend to answer a different question.
Sustained.
Oh my God. Do you not like my question? Just his snark. I wasn't in the court for this, so I couldn't see the jury's reactions. But I've heard they were not impressed. They like this guy. Hank he's just a nerd. Nerds like him don't understand like what it's like to be cool. They don't understand how to fit in, you know? And like the jury likes this guy. So he's popular. People like him. You don't want to seem like you're picking on him. Like it's just not going to go well. And people aren't going to like you then. The jurors are human. And he was the biggest gift yesterday, like to Karen Reed's case, the way he treated this man.
Next question. Strike that, Jules.
Let me ask you again. Don't you think, as an expert, it's important when you come in, you're going to present an opinion based on science or engineering or whatever you want to do, that you study the basis for that opinion before you give it?
Yes.
When you saw in Dr. Rentel's report references to this very issue about what should be used when you're doing demonstrations or study of what causes tears to clothing, weren't you interested in the basis of those opinions?
Well, again, it was something where Dr. Rentel and I worked together, and we were in agreement that we could utilize the ATD arm clothed.
When you decided to have an agreement that you could use that arm, did you read the book that he cites his support, Forensic Pathology, 2nd edition, Vincent J. DeMaio? Did you read it?
No, I did not.
Did you brief it?
No.
Did you peruse through it at all?
No.
When you decided to come to this agreement that's going to have a foundation for your opinions, did you look at footnote 26, understanding the acute skin injury mechanism caused by player surface contact during soccer, a survey systematic review? Did you review that?
No, sir.
Have you seen any articles that support the proposition that a hybrid 3 arm of a crash test dummy is appropriate to use when you're trying to provide a foundation for an opinion about whether or not tears can happen to clothing or abrasions to skin? Do you have any support for that?
Oh my God. So he basically is like, tries to say that you're the way you did this is unscientific, bro. You hired a guy who painted himself blue. Shut up. You not have a seat, pal.
Don't understand his question, Your Honor.
When you're doing studies, you don't want to know.
The question stops. You can't go to a point of impact and a point of rest if there was no contact.
So you don't want to know the body.
Hold on.
I don't think that it would be helpful in determining, Because again, we have to start with, does the damage, is it consistent with the collision?
So you would not want to know the body position. That's what you're telling us. You don't want to know that.
Well, if the evidence indicates that the contact is inconsistent, then that's kind of where the reconstruction stops. You can't go to a point of impact and a point of rest if there was no contact.
So you don't want to know the body
Fucking
position.
asshole.
Can you answer that?
I don't understand this question, Your Honor.
When you're doing studies, you don't want to know the body position?
Can you answer that, Dr. Wolfe?
Again, it depends on the type of impact. For the alleged contact in this case, you can't rely on those studies about impact location and point of rest. They're not applicable to
Let's
this.
talk about studies. As far as data, information, you as the person doing tests, would you want to know the body positioning?
And this time we'll get an answer and that'll be it. Can you answer that, Dr. Wolfe?
I feel like I've answered it the best I can, Your Honor.
Okay, next question.
You don't like that question?
Oh, how is that? You don't like that question? How is that allowed? That's the judge's fault. This guy is out of control and he does whatever he wants and he doesn't get reprimanded at all. That's why he's just testing her out. And he's like, I can get away with anything. I'm just going to keep doing this over and over again. But good. I'm glad he's doing it. Keep it up, Spanky. Keep it up. He's trying to get a reaction out of this guy. It's not working. And he looks like the biggest dickhead ever. The prosecution never looks like this in cases, ever. The prosecution is usually the good guys. This is how the defense attorneys usually act. And he is a defense attorney. So I don't have a problem with this. I'm glad he's doing this. I'm glad he's letting the jury see who he really is, period. But it is disgraceful that Bev is allowing it.
Okay. When you were doing these video demonstrations, was it important to be as accurate as possible?
Yes.
Data changes if information changes, right?
I'm not sure I understand the
That's
question.
a tough question. You want to be precise as you can and ultimately having a conclusion regarding data, don't you? Change the whole analysis, can it?
I'm not sure I understand your question.
Let me make it more simple. When you did these tests, you chose an arm from a hybrid 3 crash dummy, didn't you?
Yes.
You can take that down, Mr. Gilman. Now, when you made that choice, you knew that John O'Keefe's arm, based on the statistics and his weight of being 216 pounds, you knew that his arm weight would be 11.8 pounds, didn't you?
Yes.
And you knew that he was 6'1" tall.
Yes.
So this is what he's obsessed with now. It's just like the weight of the arm. This goes on for like 30 minutes about the weight of the arm. Is the weight off by this much? Did you calculate it this much? It should be this much. Did you calculate it? Like, I don't, what this doesn't mean what Hank thinks it means. He gets nowhere with this, in my opinion.
You decided to choose an arm in this case. You didn't choose the arm closest to his weight, did you?
It was representative enough, yes.
It was representative enough.
It was close enough, yes, sir.
Close enough. Wouldn't you want to get an arm most closely related to his actual weight?
I don't know that you can have custom-made ATDs.
You probably can. Of course, and there is 12 and 11.86, isn't there?
Correct, yes.
So when you do the math, and have you done the math before on this? When you do the math, it's 26% difference, isn't it?
Ooh, big difference.
In terms of more force?
No, mass. You're 5'9". You said 5'7".
So a lot of people are talking about this. I haven't had too much time to think about it. He fucks this up, right? Doesn't Hanky fuck this up about like the weight of the arm? Doesn't it turn out like not to matter or something? Or he does the math wrong or something? Fill me in, chat. Fill me in with this. Fill me in with this. Because I missed this part. There's a lot going on. I got no voice and I don't want. He does fuck it up, right? Like that's what I've read. Like, he fucks up the math. It doesn't matter. People are saying he's missing the point. It's force. He did the math wrong. How did he do the math wrong? Explain that to me. Mass is not the same as weight. £6,000 vehicle versus 9.8 or 11 pounds is insignificant. They never weighed John's arm either. That's a good point. Yeah, and Jackson, yeah, we'll get to Jackson's recross, yeah.
Actually, 5'9".
Sorry, 5'9", yes.
And it's 170 pounds?
We're almost
171, I believe.
Mr. O'Keefe's not 170 pounds.
No, not his whole body.
He wasn't 5'9".
Correct.
Okay, so when you do the math and you take the 9.38, lighter arm will cause the exact same amount of damage to the taillight studies as a heavier arm. Is that what you're telling us?
Well, if you look at, for instance, the 29-mile-an-hour impact test, that's significantly more kinetic energy. So the momentum of a 6,000-pound vehicle moving at 24 miles an hour, 29 miles an hour, that's going to overcome whatever the mass is that it's hitting at that point.
You're sidestepping my question.
Objection sustained. Ask a question, Mr. Lennon. Just ask a question. No more.
My question is, are you telling us that having a lighter arm does not impact the damage in these tests as opposed to using the heavier arm?
Certainly not in the field test, no.
And so you disagree that when you look at the weights of those arms, you disagree there's a 26.3% difference?
Okay,
Exact
Spanky.
same
Now we're going to get to this part.
impact location and speeds, yes.
Well, that's my point. What if the impact location moved a little bit? Could it change?
Well, is Dr. Welcher changing? I don't know if, again, I was relying on what he provided.
This is not Dr. Welcher. I'm asking you. No, it's not.
Okay, so jurors disregard that exchange between counsel. Next question.
He's like, I'm responding to Dr. Welcher's report, dipshit. So there's that.
If the body position changed, you may get a different result. Isn't that fair to say?
I was going after what Dr. Welcher had represented in his report analysis. So we did testing to analyze his orientation that he had demonstrated in his report.
You don't like that question either?
Oh, my God. Again. You don't like that question either? He keeps his calm, though. He keeps his calm. It does.
If
this poor
the
guy
body position changed, it could change the result. True?
I don't know what you mean by body position. Do you mean the whole body, the arm? What part of the body?
Okay, let's start with the arm. If the arm position changes, it could change the results, couldn't it?
Well, I'm not aware of any other orientation that Dr. Welcher provided in his analysis report as to alternative orientations.
If the arm position changed, could it change the result?
He already answered
yes,
that.
I mean, I presume if you don't have your arm on the taillight, then yes, you'll probably get a different result.
What if it's bent in a different way? Could that change the result?
Again, I haven't reviewed anything that indicates that there was a different orientation that Dr. Welcher suggested.
You're a scientist, right? You can think. I'm asking you. Just a general question. Over here. If you bend the
over
arm,
here, look at that
would it
shit.
change
Look
the
at that.
result?
Again, I haven't reviewed
like a fucking dog. Over here. Like piece of shit. So fucking. This guy is. Who the fuck does he think he is? Who does he think he is? I hope he understands. Like, I'm not gonna say anything. We'll wait till after the trial. I'll have a lot more thoughts on him afterwards.
Anything that indicates that there was a different orientation that Dr. Welcher suggested.
You're a scientist, right? You can think. I'm asking you. Just a general question. Over here. If you bend the arm, could it change the result?
So disrespectful.
Thank you. Okay. When a pedestrian is struck, they are not held stationary on a harness, are they?
No.
In this case, the crash test dummy is on a harness?
Yes, he's supported.
Strapped?
Yes.
By his hips or pelvis?
Yes.
That's not real life. That's not how a pedestrian is usually when they're hit, right? They're not strapped to a harness.
No, dipshit.
No, and again, the purpose of this test was to evaluate the arm. We're not looking at the whole body here with this test.
And when we talk about our test B,
correct.
And we saw the damage. This is at 15 miles per hour, test C. Could you play this, please? It might be delayed, so you could fast forward a little bit, please. How many times do you think that arm spun around?
I don't know.
That's not what would happen to a person who got hit. Their arm wouldn't spin through their body like that, would it?
Correct.
Their arm wouldn't spin that many times.
No.
There'd be the pull of their body weight. Yes.
I'm sorry, what's your
There'd
question?
be the pull of their body weight.
The body weight, would affect the movement afterwards, yes.
Gravity, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And so there's a reason why you do this test at 15 miles per hour. Is there a photo related to this of the damage to the taillight? There is a reason why at 15 miles per hour, the damage is much different than the other test at 17 miles per hour, isn't there?
Correct.
Right.
We're gonna skip
Body
to
counts,
this.
but before it didn't.
Objection. Sustained enough.
Okay. If we can see in test F, we have some photographs. Start with the first one, if you could widen that, please. Now, this is a direct hit.
Correct.
Is this simply a photo or a video? Could we go to the next one, please? So the rescue Randy's placed much further in the car than the other type of test that would be more similar to a clip, yes?
Correct.
Next photo, please. And that is the result of the impact?
Correct.
Do you see the debris field?
Yes.
Is it near rescue Randy?
Some of it is, yes.
It's spread out a little bit, yes?
That's fair, yes.
But it's not right on his body. It's a distance from his body, yes?
There may be some, I can't tell from this photo, there may be some around his body, but yes, there's also debris close to the Lexus as well.
So this is when he got run over, though. So the Commonwealth doesn't allege this happened. But either way, none of the taillight pieces were found that far from John O'Keefe's body somehow.
And this is the demonstration where you didn't turn on the videotape, so we don't have a videotape?
Correct, we had the false start, yeah.
What's that?
We had the false start.
False start. Is there another picture after this? Those clothes.
Oh, this
Are
one.
there holes or tears in the clothes?
Yes, there's damage that's consistent with road rash when clothing or a body makes contact with the pavement and is grinding into the pavement.
Pavement's hard.
Yes.
How about frozen ground, frozen dirt?
Is that hard?
Yeah.
I suppose it can be.
Well, do you have any doubt whether frozen ground in the Northeast in the winter is hard as a rock?
He's obsessed. He's obsessed with frozen ground, hard as a rock. And notice this is on the other side of his arm, not the side that was bit. So he's like showing this. It's like, well, it looks a lot like John's sweatshirt, but this is being deceptive as we're
done any analysis to assess that.
And so seeing holes in those clothes is what you would expect after Randy hits that hard ground, right?
Are you talking about frozen grass or pavement?
I'm talking about Randy right now. These holes in the clothes is what you expect
Randy
after Randy hits the hard ground, correct?
I'm going to allow that. Is that what you'd expect? All right,
Okay.
jurors, feel free to stand up.
Well, we don't know, again, beyond that data point, what the data is.
At the end of that 10 seconds, of a pedestrian that causes significant damage to a taillight, where the pedestrian incurs no lower body injuries whatsoever. That can happen, can it?
Well, I don't know that I would describe this as a clip to the arm. This is a full-on impact to the arm. So it's not a clip. Again, you saw it at 15 miles per hour. I think that's more analogous to a clip or a side swipe where the arm just kind of gets brushed out of the way. This, I would say, is a full-on impact to the arm.
Okay, to use your words, in a full-on impact like this, a pedestrian could be involved in a full-on impact causing that amount of damage to the taillight that's reflected in this video, but suffer no lower body injuries. Isn't that fair to say?
I don't address injuries, sir.
Well, let's play it forward. Do we ever see Randy's knees hit the car?
No, but his hips get hit. He got hip checked there. Good. Look.
Reflected in this video, but suffer no
Look at his hip.
lower body injuries. Isn't that fair to say?
I don't address injuries, sir.
Well, let's play it forward. Do we ever see Randy's knees?
Look at his hip. That definitely hits his hip. That would fucking hurt.
The car?
His hip would definitely be bruised there.
Hips? Ribs?
I see the foot getting run over, but I don't think there was contact with the legs, no.
Would you agree that a pedestrian could be in this type of collision and suffer no lower body injuries based on your presentation here?
Sir, I don't address injuries. Biomechanics is not my area of specialty.
You said it's common in vehicle pedestrian collisions that there's some type of bumper displacement. Have you
Correct.
said that?
Yes.
Okay, bring it back to the beginning, please. So
I want to get to Alan Jackson.
The bottom part?
Correct. Or less.
In order to penetrate the sweatshirt and cut the arm across, would the shards have to be going faster or slower than the arm?
They would have to be going faster. If they're moving at a common velocity with the arm relative to it, they would somehow have to accelerate with more speed to catch up and go beyond the arm, essentially.
Is that physically possible?
No.
That is such important testimony. I'm going to replay that.
In fact, less.
Off of,
In test E,
right. If the car's going 24 miles an hour, what's the expected speed of the arm?
so the hand got up to a little over 24, the arm got a little over 21 miles per hour.
The debris that comes off of the taillight, the fragments, what speed would they be going at the point of impact when they crack and are released from the taillight?
At the impact speed or less.
At the impact speed or less. So his arm hits the taillight. The arm is going to move at the same velocity as the car, right? The taillight is going to move at the impact speed or less. So how does the taillight catch up to the arm and cut the arm? Physically, that makes no sense.
In order to penetrate the sweatshirt and cut the arm across, would the shards have to be going faster or slower than the arm?
They would have to be going faster. If they're moving at a common velocity with the arm relative to it, they would somehow have to accelerate with more speed to catch up and go beyond the arm, essentially.
They would have to accelerate and go beyond the arm to catch it up. It is physically impossible for pieces of taillight to catch up to an object that it is going slower than, and then penetrate the sweatshirt and then cut the arm up in parallel. Just fucking retard shit, dude.
Is that physically possible?
No.
I also want to ask you about do you have in your PowerPoint the photographs of the sweatshirt at the what you call the full-on impact, test F as in Foxtrot?
I don't have any of those in the PowerPoint.
Okay. The photo that you showed, if I could ask this woman to show the same photograph that she showed earlier of the subsequent to test F as in Foxtrot, with the holes we see.
If she can.
If she can.
Can you do that, Ms. Gilman?
Very kind.
Thank you.
Dr. Wolfe, you're showing just the left arm underneath the, whatever you call the dummy, Randy, right?
Yes.
Did Mr. Brennan show you the rest of the sweatshirt?
No.
What did
No.
the rest of the sweatshirt look like after
There
this
is.
full-on impact when he was launched on the asphalt?
Mangled. So there was not only significant road rash to the clothing all over the torso section, the left arm, the right arm. There was holes in many different locations of various sizes. There was also just on the skin of the dummy, there was road rash on the face had been scraped. The torso had been scraped. So there was significant body damage to the torso as well.
Taking just the sweatshirt, separating that out. What about the bodice of the sweatshirt, the front of the sweatshirt? Were there holes and frays and damage to the front?
It was covered in all of those, yes.
What about the back of the sweatshirt? Did that also have damage?
I don't believe the back, because I think he fell onto his stomach.
What about the other arm?
Yes, both arms did.
Were the holes and frays larger than the holes, the puncture holes that you saw on John O'Keefe's sweatshirt?
They were certainly larger and, again, spread out amongst the entirety of the sweatshirt, at least on the front side.
Was the damage to the sweatshirt that you saw in this experiment consistent with the damage or defects that you saw in just the right arm, those 9 puncture holes on the right arm of the sweatshirt of John O'Keefe?
No, this is distinctly road rash. There's a clear distinction between the two.
Showing
there's a clear distinction.
At this particular set of defects in the arm, is that misleading in terms of its comparison to John O'Keefe's sweatshirt? Okay.
Sustain.
Correct?
Correct.
You were asked several questions about the glass and whether or not the glass weighed in on your analysis.
All right, we're gonna stop there. Sorry, I'm starting to sound like 𝗳𝗿𝗂𝗺. But yeah, we'll get back to this on Monday. He's almost done. Then Hank's gonna have another shot at him. But how deceptive of Hank not to mention the fact that the piece of he didn't show the part of the fucking hood of sweatshirt that was mangled and destroyed. How about that? All right. Let me end this night with some turtle chats. Let me read some here. Sorry, I got no fucking voice. It's like painful to, you know, when it's like painful to talk. That's what I'm feeling right now. But I got to read my turtle chats. Okay. So no more. I can't read any more after this. I'm going to read what have been sent in, and that's it. All right, cool. All right, we got a bunch here. I'm going to read them as quick as I can. All right. Tara Jean Grabbert sends $10 and goes, just finished watching the live stream of Good Night and Good Luck, and all I can think of was how similar you, Aidan, are to Edward Murrow. Keep fighting the good fight. We all love you. Well, thank you. I'll take that as a compliment, I guess. Thank you. Lee from Plainville sends 10 and goes, please get a police escort to court on Monday. I don't trust the fake victim. There's no more ordered, bro. She is diabolical. No, you're right. Thank you. Mark sends $5 and goes, for what it's worth, Judge Kearney did in fact offer Lally the chance to find a rebuttal witness after Dr. Russell's voir dire last year. Okay. And then sends me a timestamp. Thank you. Mammy Jammy sends $10 and says, my opinion only, but I don't think the jury knowing there was an FBI investigation is a good thing for the defense. If I was the juror, I would wonder why no one was charged with the cover-up and if they think Karen did it. I don't think there's any benefit from knowing about the FBI investigation because they don't know what the FBI is looking for. For all they know, the FBI was investigating Karen Reed. Like, who would ever guess that they're investigating Michael Morrissey's office? You know what I mean? Who would ever guess that? All right, next up. JJ sends $5, goes, hey, doctor, any truth to Brian and Coco splitting? I have no clue. Don't care. Tracy sends $5 and goes, can you explain why Paul and Peggy O'Keefe were not talking to John at the time of his death? No, I can't. Thank you. Mary sends $10 and goes, has the defense made it clear to the jury that Lucky has already talked to law enforcement before talking to you? Yes. Alini sends $10 and goes, I'll light a candle in church for you tomorrow. And keeping you in my prayers, you're a hero because you do not give up on the pursuit of justice. I admire your courage and honesty. Thanks for all you sacrifice. Well, thank you. I'm saying a prayer tomorrow for Karen Reed, though, because Karen Reed needs it more than me right now because she's got a really, a life-altering verdict coming up very soon. So She needs our prayers, so thank you. Yellow Cottage She sends $10. Goes, confirming Spanky Brennan sucks dick with his butthole. Hi, Otto and Wimmy in Virginia. Free Karen Reed, free Turtleboy. Okay, thanks. Sonia sends $10. Goes, John DePietro called for you to be jailed on TV. Linda Kenny Batten said she would represent you, praying for you this week. Aidan, you're doing God's work. Thank you. You're right, Sonia. I shared that on my Twitter account, and Linda was amazing. But that guy, Paul Morrow, is retarded on Fox News Nation. Just, I could explain the whole thing, guys, but I have no fucking voice right now, and it's painful. Every word I say is painful, so I would recommend you go to my Twitter and you read the defense. Thank you. Again, when you're paid to talk for a living and your fucking voice hurts and it only gets worse, I got to rest up. Enormous Sock sends $5 and goes, maybe crazy, but any concern these people may not give up post acquittal and attempt witness intimidation charges against Karen Reed in the defense. No. Rachel sends $10, goes, for the tail light. If the inside diffuser is broken, will the tail light still light up? I don't think it will. Thank you. Britt Happen sends $10, says, best wishes on Monday. Not that you need it. I can't wait for you and Karen to get the closure you deserve. How do you feel about so much being left on the table with Proctor, like the conveyed gift from Julie Albert? I don't feel good about it. I wish it was all out there, but is what it is. Thanks. Ann sends $10, goes, sorry you're going through this, sending you positive vibes. Thanks, Ann. Jen McCunt sends $5. A long message for $5. So I'm just going to read the first sentence or two. Again, you got to keep the messages short. I cannot, especially when I got no voice. Okay, that message you read aloud about the weather and J.O. just standing there, spot on. The jury needs to think about that. Thank you. Next, $5 from Laura sends and says, I know a lot of shit online is false or retarded, but just wondering if you think the defense has someone looking online at everything in case there's anything helpful. Okay, yes, thanks. Melissa sends $25 and goes, congrats on your graduation, Shane Delaney. Good luck on EMT exam next week. Thank you. Aidan, you don't deserve any of these charges. Again, I would read all these more, and I appreciate you guys all sending me messages, but I have no voice right now, and I'm just trying to there's a whole bunch more too. I love all you guys. I can't fucking read any more messages. I can't do it. It's just painful. I'll make it up to you Monday. I'll read more of these messages on Monday. All the people. The last one I got to was Jen McCunt, I think. No. I forget. Britt Happens, maybe. I forget. I'll read them all Monday. I can't do I want to respect you guys. I want to read your turtle chats, but there's 20 more and I have no fucking voice and it hurts. So I'm going to bed. So I'll see you guys all. And I'm sorry I couldn't get to everyone, but my fucking voice, I can't fucking talk. I don't know what you want me to say. So I will see you guys all Monday. I love all you fine people. Wish me luck and brush your teeth. Peace to you, bum grease.
It calls for data including calendars, alerts, reminders, notes, text messages, pictures, or videos from April 1st, 2023 through and including October 5th, 2023. 7 months.